10-4, good buddies. How you doing today? Hi, everybody. We're going trucking, and I brought along a bunch of issues of Boomerang Audiomagazine with me. So we're going to listen to that as we drive through Texas. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for showing up. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Real quick, let me give some background on what we're going to be listening to today. Here is... Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. That's the right one. Here is the Wikipedia entry for it, which apparently they're still selling issues of Boomerang, so go out and grab it if you want. If you want to download these, here is the archive link. And yeah, so hi everybody. It's cold today. It's snowy outside. And guess what? I have a new disgusting drink. I actually don't know if it's disgusting, but it's a deep brown. And it is by Remedy Organics, Cacao Essentials. It's got almond milk, which I like, cacao, which I like, dates are pretty good, maca, ashwagandha, so that's fine, and prebiotics. The bottle says, take a deep breath and shake well. I don't like that. They're making it seem like it's going to be disgusting. So, all right, I'm opening it up. Oh, God, that peaked the mic. Apologies. It smells good. Kind of dirt smelling, though. All right. Here we go, folks. I don't want to do this. I bought this because it was on sale, and I've been curious about this brand, so let's go. What the fuck? Yes, what the fuck? You can really taste the coconut. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know if I like this or despise this. I need another sip. Oh, hello, everyone from Moral Recordings.
Moral Recordings just rated with 8 viewers.
Thank you. Let me give you a shout out. I just had a drink by Remedy Organics that I don't know if I hate it or love it or whatever.
Ah! Bingo! Pasta with all sorts of different sauces.
I don't think I have the... Hold on. Okay, shout out done. Let me give you a follow there. Let's I guess we got to do this. We got a truck. There we go. All right, I kind of like this. I can't recommend this to any human being, but if you like things that are kind of coconutty and you want a like fancy schmancy organic thing that doesn't have stevia in it, it's like one of the few that doesn't. I do recommend it. I don't know how I feel, though. Do I like this? Do I hate this? Chat, I don't know how I feel. All right. So what we're going to be doing today is going through issues of Boomerang Magazine, which was a children's audio magazine kind of aimed for homeschoolers, apparently, that kind of had kids and info and a lot of stuff about money, like a lot of stuff about money. Anyways, as you saw earlier, though, I have been requested, so give me a hot second. I'm here. I'm queer. Get used to it. And now it's time for me to drive throughout the state of Texas. So let's go. Yeah, I removed my Bucky's hat for the jingly little jester hat. All right, let's start with Boomerang. And to take a break from the gesturness here, if you do need me to adjust the audio at any time, please let me know. I think that it should be okay, but we'll see. Anyways, Boomerang. Nice and fuzzy, just like you like it. I have a job to do, so...
Boomerang is brought to you by Books and the rest of your friends at the public library.
Let's pick up some freight, fiddle-de-gate. I'm the bird cawing. Excuse me? Excuse me? Aw, see you more recordings. Thank you for showing up.
Not much. No, really, what's new? Well, I heard Tommy Bollin's house got hit by a meteorite. Either that or someone threw a rock through the window. Brolin, that is spelled B-R-O-L-I-N. Yeah, that's right. Will someone please tell me what's going on?
This issue, Michelle and I take a look at news. Freddie here heard us say that all of us are news reporters in some way, and I guess he's taking it real seriously.
That's true, I guess.
Well, believe it or not, Chief, I'm going back in time to speak with Robert Leroy Ripley.
Let's see what else we have this issue. Dave Schmave has a story about yesterday.
Dave
and
Schmave!
tomorrow. And the Boomerang kids rate the best of bubblegum.
I tell you guys, it was a tough job, but someone's got to do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your thinking machines.
All done. I'm thinking.
My name is Michelle Tom, and I'm one of the Boomerang kids here to help you keep up with what's up. We've got stories, songs,
Oops.
news of the news, and the absolutely
Fiddly
best
doops,
show
I did an
ever
oops.
here.
Wrong button. I was trying to honk the horn and I engaged the parking brake. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Oh yes, it's a very gorgeous game.
In America, we do business under the free enterprise system. That's a complicated sounding term to mean that companies and stores can charge as much as they want for stuff. If
Free
stores charge too
enterprise.
much, people won't buy.
Ha!
If they charge too little, they won't make any money. It's not a perfect way to do things, but this system seems to work better than anything else so far. A few safeguards don't hurt though. And over 100 years ago, our government passed a law called the Sherman Antitrust Act to make sure the free enterprise system stayed free.
Fiddly duck,
Never
the
heard of
Sherman
it?
Antitrust
Oh,
Act.
don't feel bad. Neither did Freddie.
I don't use turn signals. Those are for cowards.
You got it. Hey, I see you've got some competition across town. Competition? Yeah, some girl is selling sandwiches just like yours for $1.95.
Oops.
$1.95? She's only paying me 75 cents for them. You know her? Yeah, it's Rachel. She buys sandwiches for me and then
Rachel!
another neighborhood. But it's no fair. Her selling them for more money than I do. Oh, I don't know, Freddie. She may make more money on each one, but she's not going to sell as many. Not to me, anyway.
Not to
I
you.
came all the way over here so I could save 70 cents. You've got a point there. I guess I don't have to worry.
So Freddie didn't worry, but Rachel did. During the first week her stand was open, she only sold half as many as Fred. She knew she had to lower the prices, or...
Hi, Rachel. Ready for some more sandwiches?
Tell you the truth, Fred, I was hoping we could talk about prices a little bit.
Average conversations between... Oh god, that's gas. Don't crash. Okay.
You bet. Well, I'm not selling enough sandwiches at my stand because everyone is coming over here.
So you shouldn't charge that much then.
Maybe. Either that or you should charge more. See, if we both charge $1.95, you'd make more money on your sandwiches.
That's Monopoly, you little brat.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ms. Goodfriend.
Wi-Fi.
I'm with the Justice Department, Trustbuster Division.
Trustbuster. You don't have anything to do with those Ghostbusters, do you?
No, I bust trusts, not ghosts.
Trusts?
You're the only people in town making banana sandwiches.
As far as I know.
That's
Banana
all for
sandwiches, that's so cheap.
I wonder what that game was all about.
now. And unless my hearing aids need work, you kids with a monopoly were just talking about agreeing on one price you both would charge.
Well, yeah.
Yes, hon. Well, that's a trust. There's a law on the books called the Sherman Antitrust Act that makes these trusts against the law.
Against the law?
There's a
I thought
video
you could have
here.
Anything you wanted to. That's part of the free enterprise system.
Competition is the backbone of free enterprise, folks, and these trusts do away with competition. Now that's good for the companies, but it's not good for you and me.
Fiddle-dee-dee, it's a viewpoint for
All
me.
got together and said, "Tell you what, let's charge $10 for a jar of peanut butter."
10 smackers? No way! I'd quit eating peanut butter.
I would definitely be bummed, but I couldn't stop eating peanut butter.
This isn't in Austin. Stop this. There is no club bowling.
$185. Then we still would have different prizes.
I suppose this is supposed to be
That would
6th
be
Street.
just fine. Don't get me wrong. Fred can raise his price to anything he wants, even to the same price as yours. That's not illegal. What is illegal is you two talking about it together.
Well, jeepers, Miss Goodchick. We sure didn't mean any harm.
All right,
This
Austin's
meeting's
looking
now
pretty nice.
over.
Pretty nice. It's
Freddie ended up keeping the
it's
price of his
all
rhubarb and banana sandwiches
freeways.
at
It's all
$1.25.
freeways.
The whole purpose of Rachel's opening up a stand across town was so kids wouldn't have to travel so far to get an R&B. But once they found out they could save 70 cents at Freddy's, they didn't mind hoofing it over there.
Oh, fiddle-dee
Rachel,
graveyard.
she's
It's a big old
The next
graveyard.
time you play Monopoly and snap up Park Place and Boardwalk, better keep an eye over your shoulder because Mrs. Goodshell just might come snooping around.
That's good check, honey. Good check.
There we go. Do. I think that's enough Jester for now. Give me a second and I will go, wow. Oh, that was quite terrible. Goodbye.
Dear Boomerang, one night when we were eating dinner, my brother and sister were crying. My dad said,
Crying?
"Go to our rooms." Why did he punish me for what they did?
Because your father sucks.
Ask your dad if he ever threw the baby out with the bathwater. Yeah, I know that sounds weird, but trust me. Here's a letter from Peyton Coles in the Plains, Virginia.
Dear Boomerang, we have switched to watching public television because it teaches and it doesn't have commercials. Don't
Okay.
you think we should buy what we need and not what they tell us we need?
We agree with you 100%. Luckily, with stuff like yak and yo-yos, what we need and what they tell us we need is the same thing. Finally, this is a letter from Rachel Zomick in Issaquah, Washington.
Dear Boomerang, sometimes my mom says something and later, when I bring it up, she says she didn't say it. What should I do?
Call the cops
Now,
on
I don't know
her.
what kinds of things you're talking about, but being psychic and all, I bet your mom forgets the first part of sentences. Like, we'll get an ice cream when we're through with the errands. Yet 3 weeks down the line, she will all of a sudden say, I thought I told you to paint that garbage can. Am I right? It's called a selective memory, Rachel. What should you do? Get used to it.
No,
That's it
call
for
the
this month,
cops.
Boomers. Send us your letters.
All right,
about wonderful
boomers.
things grown-ups do.
I'll do the
Yours,
the freight
Next
market.
issue of Boomerang.
And yeah, I'll go to Tyler. Yeah, let's take the job.
In Northern California, there was a custom for local newspaper cartoonists to draw a cover for a Stanford University magazine called Chaparral. So one afternoon, a 17-year-old artist for the San Francisco Bulletin named Leroy Ripley took some artwork down to show them.
Okay.
Leroy was asked to wait in the editor's dormitory room.
The winter
Killing time,
blast
he
is
picked up what he
chilling
figured
my
was a fancy
ass, is
silver
what
shoe
it's
brush on the
doing.
dresser and began buffing his loafers. When the magazine editor came back, he was horrified to see Ripley using his expensive hairbrush on the old pair of shoes.
No, not my
Our
hairbrush.
veteran artist stammered his way out the door without even mentioning the magazine cover. Leroy Ripley, who later changed his name to Robert, always stood out from the crowd. He wore strange color combinations
Man,
that
this is
led one
gonna
of
be
his
a pain
friends
in
to
the
say he
ass.
looked like
Okay,
a paint store that had been
okay.
hit by lightning. He had
I
buck
usually do
teeth,
quick
bad
jobs,
manners,
so
and
I'm
a
not-
knack for always doing the wrong thing.
Okay.
But the boy had
forward.
something else too, a talent for drawing. Mr. Ripley's cartoons weren't the funny
Okay.
ha-ha kind of cartoons. They were black
Okay.
and white illustrations of, well, real weird stuff.
Yeah? Like
A
what?
hen in Maine who laid empty eggs. A man who married a statue and gave it a ring worth $100,000. A boy from Kansas who became a lawyer when he was 7 years old. Other items he collected and illustrated were simply weird facts. A coin the size of a nickel made of star matter would weigh 200 pounds. His
That's-
newspaper illustrations
okay.
grew so popular
Okay.
that he soon had a radio show. He set up exhibits all over the country, featuring blown-up copies of his illustrations, along with real-life versions of some of the oddities he drew. I'm going back to New York in 1935
No,
to speak with
wrong
Robert
way.
Leroy Ripley at his fantastic 29-room mansion.
Ah, fuck. What am I
This place
doing?
is
What
on
am I
its own
doing?
little island, and let me tell you, boomers, you have to see this place to believe it. There's more stuff in here than any museum I've ever been in.
It's a good thing Ripley made a bunch of museums. Hi, everybody. I'm driving bad. No, fuck.
Bion. B-I-O-N. Believe it or not.
And Ripley is now a huge ass chain of
I
shit.
understand you're from a children's magazine, is that right?
Ooh.
No.
You're probably pretty sharp. But you know what? I've got 2 bits.
Not even
You can't
close.
name the
Okay.
first president of the
It's
United
fine.
States.
Just listen to Mr. Ripley, kids, okay? I like to imagine I'm a trucker and you're all my children, and I have custody of you this week, so I got to take you on my job with me.
1781.
Yeah, she did call
He was
you
elected
boomers. You
president
like
of the
that?
United States. Says so right here.
Wow, I guess you're right.
Now for that quarter, please. Since you've got a quarter to lose, I don't mind at all taking it from you.
Mr. Ripley, how do you find out about all this weird stuff?
To tell you the truth, it's getting to the point where I don't have to search for these little items. They find me. I get 1 million letters every year with little nuggets like that. Do you know that I once received a postage stamp from Japan, and on the back of it simply said, Ripley, North America.
No envelope or anything?
No envelope.
Okay, I think we're
put that in my
good.
column, and before I knew it, I was receiving all sorts of strange
No
mail.
arm wrestling yet, but
One
yeah.
letter arrived with nothing in it but a grain
No,
of rice.
kids, we're not stopping
A
at
letter was written on that
Buc-ee's.
grain of rice that had words with 1,615 letters. Another time, I received an envelope with no writing at all on the outside.
Okay, I'm
Just
trying
a
again.
rip in the
Thank you all for
envelope.
putting up with this.
It got to me.
Okay.
Post office people sent out a note to all the post offices telling the carriers not to deliver any more weird addresses. The next week, I got an envelope with no writing on it.
Okay,
Just a
this should be
copy
it.
of the
We're
post
good.
office
This is golden. This is it.
How did you get started?
Mom would take us to Buc-ee's. Well,
Polishing headstones. That was my first job anyway, but I wouldn't recommend it. Too gloomy. When I was just about your age, there were 2 things that meant anything to
oh
me.
my God.
Baseball
Folks,
and
I've been
drawing.
doing this the wrong way
When I
the
wasn't
entire
doing
time.
one, I was doing the
Fuck
other.
me. Look at
By the
that.
time I
There's
was
the
13,
yeah.
I was playing
Okay.
semi-pro
It's
ball in
fine. It's
California.
fine. It's
When
fine,
I was
kids.
14,
Don't tell your
I
mom
sold
I
my
did
first
this.
cartoon to Life magazine.
Wow.
That's exactly how I felt.
Don't
about
tell
it.
your mom
I ended
I've
up
been
drawing for a couple of San
driving the
Francisco
wrong
papers the
way.
next couple of years,
It's
and when I was
okay.
19,
She doesn't need to
a man
know.
hired me to come out to New York and illustrate a book for him.
Just listen to
Didn't get
the
but
audiobook
$100
about
That
Ripley,
job paid my
kids.
way out to New York, and in a couple
I
of
made a
months,
Bucky
was doing
Wucky
baseball
indeed.
illustrations
Oh
for
my
one of the
God.
biggest
Oh
papers
my
in the
God.
country,
Why did I do
the
that?
New York Globe.
I'm so bad at American Truck Simulator.
One day,
But
was
I will
having a
never
hard
stop
time coming up
playing.
with a fresh idea. I tossed off a
Okay,
series of
I'll take you to
cartoons illustrating
Buc-ee's.
some rather peculiar athletic feats.
Kids.
A man running 100 yards backwards in 14 seconds. Another fella staying submerged underwater for 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
Dude, what
A
are you
man
telling my
walked backwards
kids?
across the entire continent. I called the cartoon Champs and Chumps. Laid it on my editor's desk.
Okay, I
He
think we
liked
got
cartoons
this.
all right, but not the heading. He changed it to Believe It or Not. Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Straighten out.
Mr. Ripley, in doing research about you, people told me you were shy.
And you're probably saying, boy, they got that wrong. To tell you the truth, Josie, I
Yeah?
am shy.
You are shy?
I'd much rather be behind my desk with a pencil than jabbering in front of a group of people.
But what?
But you can't hide. Look at
Okay,
his
this looks
smile.
good.
What do
We're
you
not
think?
there yet.
Josie, you're a very nice lady and a very good liar. This is a smile only a mother could love. Why, one time I heard a fella telling a friend that Ripley lost his front teeth as a child and doctors transplanted
Okay,
beaver
I got
teeth
it,
into his
right?
jaw. The other
Okay,
fella
how do
believed it
I-
all right.
how do
They
I pick
couldn't
it up?
figure out why they selected a beaver with buck teeth. Look, if you had these teeth, you'd be shy too. And I know more about putting a fastball over
Oh
the
my
plate
God.
than I do which fork to put on the plate. So I
Uh,
had a decision to make. I could either climb under a rock and wait to croak, or act like
What
I
does
don't
this
care
do?
and get out there and holler. I decided I liked hollering a whole lot better.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm no
I don't know
longer
how to
shy.
pick up the...
It just means I've learned how to cover
Oh, okay. Hold on. You see the
Guess you like
controls.
your job, huh, Mr. Ripley?
it up. Let's put it this way. When you go down to the dime store and buy some bubble gum,
It's fine.
you're probably thinking how juicy that gum's going to be when you chomp into it.
I'm always thinking
My
about
mind is still
juicy
back at
gum.
that
You're
store,
right.
Thinking how many pieces of bubble gum they sell in that store
Okay.
in one day. And if how they took all the bubble gum sold in all the
How
dime
do
stores
I-
in 1 week and
Eye
shoot it all up
tracking.
together, how it would blow up a bubble bigger than the earth itself. Now don't quote me on that one. And don't ask me whose
keys
mouth
and
is
buttons,
big enough
please.
to do all that chewing. Although I've got
Don't
a few
worry
ideas
about the lot lizards. They don't
But
pay
listen,
attention to me.
If
I
someone
got my
paid you
bad buck teeth.
$500,000 a year to draw pictures of incredible
right.
feats, would you enjoy your work?
You is it? Okay, you or
Do you
V?
know there was a
Let's
fellow
go.
by the name of Johnny
Let's fucking
Connors
go.
that rolled a peanut with his nose 40 miles from Boston to Worcester, Massachusetts?
Because of his bizarre items and statements, Robert Ripley was called the biggest liar in the world. The fact was, most of the items were mostly true. And one thing he definitely did not lie about was the fact that he loved his work. He visited over 180 countries, seeking out the strangest customs he could find. And received over 1 million pieces of mail in a year.
Oh my God.
When people came upon
I
something
genuinely
strange, they
don't
would
know
often
how to
say,
get the truck.
"That's one for Ripley." His friends always
Okay,
said
I'm
that
gonna
Ripley
go
was
do
his
some
own
driving
best
and see if I
believe it or
can't
not
find.
item. He was a radio pioneer who was afraid to dial a telephone because he thought he would be electrocuted. He was shy, but gave all sorts of huge, wild parties.
I thought
He made a
I
living
could
drawing and
just
displaying human
just
oddities,
play this
but
game
fired
easy, but
anyone on his
no.
staff that referred to any of the unusual people as freaks.
Freaks?
To Mr. Ripley, people from different cultures with strange customs or boasting some bizarre ability added color to the world. And everyone who had ever seen Mr. Ripley's turquoise pants knew Mr. Ripley loved color.
Turquoise
This is Josie Mayer with
parents?
another turning point in American history.
All right, I'm gonna drive around this bad boy and see if there isn't like a thing I can drive into where they'll let me do it automatically. Oh my God. You guys, I'm a clown. I was going for the wrong one. Holy shit, it was right next to me the whole time and I didn't realize. I think your mother's divorcing me again. It's fine, it's fine.
You're taking a math test in school, and you can't help but notice that the girl next to you is stealing looks at your paper. On one hand, you think, well, if this kid is cheating, it's her fault. But hold it. If all of our answers end up exactly the same, maybe we'll both get in trouble. What would be the right thing to do? Think about it. On side 2, you'll hear what some of our subscribers would do.
Placed in a frying pan, combed his hair with a broken chair, and died with a toothache in his ear.
Okay.
Going up.
Hi, Dave.
No.
How about going over to the Dairy Queen for a milkshake with me?
Now?
Okay, yeah, Dad's gay. That's what we divorced because I'm gay.
Wait, that isn't now.
Come on.
Really, a psychologist talked to a bunch of people and decided that people's idea of now lasts from the time you say it for 12.5 seconds.
So 15 seconds from now is...
A little bit.
Man, I wish they could have talked to my sister Cheryl for that study. She would have thrown the whole thing way off.
It's cool. This is why I don't usually do,
Now moment. I think it started
oh my God,
on a camping
okay.
trip. Every summer
I might
after
just
the
do a
garden
quick
was
job.
Our family packed up our car for a camping trip to Lake Cassette. First, Mom would sit us down at the table and we would come up with a list of everything we were going to need.
Okay.
Marshmallows, sleeping bags.
You
bug
can
spray, butterfly
ride
net,
on the
coolers,
roof,
suntan
absolutely.
lotion,
That's fine.
hatchet.
Oh my God.
Just
It's
thinking
fine.
about all this stuff, of course,
It's
got us
fine.
into
It's
the
fine.
mood.
It's fine.
Now, some
They're not going to
families had a
arrest me.
section of their garage set aside
They
for
can't
camping.
arrest you for driving a truck
They have all
bad.
the tents put away nicely, the air mattresses are folded up, and when one gets a hole in it, they fix it or throw it away. But that made camping way too easy. At our house, spending 2 days finding all the camping gear was as much part of camping as roasting marshmallows.
Okay, you...
Fitting 6 kids and 2 parents into a station wagon with all the camping gear.
Okay, look at this.
There wasn't enough
No,
room
no.
inside for all the stuff.
Nothing but net, nothing but net.
Terry and Bob packed it up top with enough rope and bungee cords to restrain a mad elephant. We would leave right before first light. That was never early enough for me and my little sister, so the night before we would sleep in the car. When there are 6 kids in your family, you never know what you're going to forget, and we just wanted to make sure it wasn't us. On the way, 1 kid had to sit in front with Mom and Dad, 3 kids got the primo second seat, and Colleen and I held down the way
Come
back.
on!
In the 300
Okay,
miles
it's
or so
fine.
of Shack-a-Mack, Dad had both hands on the wheel, maybe 15 miles max. The rest of the time, he would have the left hand on the top of the car, searching for the flapping rope.
I'm pressing
and the right one in the
enter,
back
I'm pressing
seat, separating Karen
U, I'm
from
pressing
everyone else.
V.
He tried to tell us some stories
Some
about the good old
E.
days, but most of the conversation was done by the kids in the second seat, deciding who was over whose invisible line. Strangely
Okay.
enough, pulling into the camping place was about the only bad part of the trip. You had to wait in the parking lot for a campsite. Everyone was crankety and creaky after being cooped up. Unloading was a drag.
Okay,
It was the
certainly
air
this is
mattresses that
good,
really
right?
killed
This has got to be it.
They were maybe 8, 9 years old with bicycle tube patches all over the place, and after about 2 hours of blowing, they stayed half full, which made it only half better than sleeping on a bed of rocks, I figured. But after the getting there,
Don't fall off the truck. I need you to live.
Trips to Shack-a-Mack more than Dad.
E.
51 weeks out of
No.
the year, he wore the same old
Enter.
brown leather shoes
No.
and dress shirts.
U. No.
was his week to
E.
rough it.
No.
He tucked a buck knife into his waistband and put on his camping sneakers and Davy
All right,
Crockett
Google.
coonskin cap. From the looks of him, you'd have thought he was going on a 6-month expedition to South America. But you don't need Amazon wilderness when you have an imagination, and Dad had more of that than 5 people his size. You see, Lake Shack-a-Mack wasn't exactly wilderness.
Yeah, how do I load
People
the
were packed
trailer?
together at the campsites. There were activities. It had bathrooms you could go to, and even a little food store they called the canteen.
Oh my God.
The only thing he really needed the knife for was making sure the mystery meat in the canned stew was
There is
dead.
there is no answer
The
for
second day
this.
we got
How do
there,
you?
Mom sent Cheryl, Colleen, and I over to the canteen place to buy hot dogs and mustard.
Oh, good, an AI
when some kid
overview?
in the checkout
Perfect.
line with long blonde hair and a surfer tan asked Cheryl her name.
Once it says it'll automatically, the trailer will
Every boy
automatically
that
begin
walked
loading.
by after
Okay.
that, Cheryl stretched her neck out.
Uh,
Of course, it never was, and by Thursday, she was absolutely crazed. She knew her one big chance would be down at the main lodge where they had a dance every Friday night. And there were 2 problems, though. For one, I had seen a sign about a hayride on Friday.
okay, see, we're perfectly
The
loaded.
hayride was a big wagon with hay bales on it and people playing guitars and banjos and all pulled by a big tractor in the dark.
It's
and
fine.
For an 8-year-old kid, it was pretty neat. It was
It's fine.
planned so parents took the little guys like me on the hayride.
Dad does.
older
Yeah,
kids got to
okay.
go
I
to
don't
the
know how to
picnic.
do my job. Well,
Well, problem 2
You're
was
right.
that the hayride was something everybody does once. And Mom
Come
and Dad
on,
had
man.
done their onces.
I'm on the
Terry,
truck.
Bob, and Karen weren't going to be caught dead on it again either. And seeing as how Cheryl was the lowest kid on the totem pole who was old enough to go on it alone, it was decreed that Cheryl would take Dave on the hayride. As you might imagine, Cheryl was none too happy about the idea of taking little brother Dave on the hayride. Especially
Yeah, it's
not
the right
this
trailer.
Friday night, the mother of all Friday nights, when her beloved surfer kid was going to paddle over
Okay,
and
last
swim her away.
try.
But it's overruled
Okay,
because Dad
okay.
thought it was my constitutional kid camping right to go on the
No, we didn't get truck nuts yet, but I've been stuck trying to load a trailer,
In
so.
the years ahead for hanging around with boys down by the lake. Cheryl should have been an actress. Next week, next month, next year, she pouted. What good are all the next if I never get to do anything now? Has a way of being gone. Tomorrow, never see.
Okay, we're good. We're good. We're getting that.
Alone. I want to live in today.
Oh, I'm not even close. Okay.
When to get in the way.
Is this Twin Peaks music? Folks, I've been watching Twin Peaks and I had to take a break because I saw an episode that was too scary.
All I see is right now. The great hayride vacation argument did not make me as unpopular as the time I announced I had never been in Tennessee before and Dad drove all 8 of us 45 miles out of our way so I could get out of the car to say I had been there.
It's fine.
But it was close.
That
Cheryl did
Tennessee,
have a point,
E,
though, about the
Tennessee,
past and future.
E, go into
Dad was a
Tennessee.
writer, and writers have a way of
I've never
looking
been to
back on
Tennessee
things
either.
gone by. He wrote about the past. He talked about the past. and it seemed he would have traded his left arm to go back and live in 1927.
Why? Your dad sucks.
Mom, on the other hand, acted as if the only thing mattered was the future. You
Okay,
had to
okay,
eat
we're good,
healthy
we're good.
stuff so you could grow up to be big and strong. You had
I
to
am
mulch
on
the
season
garden in the
2,
fall so it'd be good
and
for planting in the spring.
there was
You
a
had to make
scary
your bed
thing
in
that
the morning
happened, and
so
I
it'd
was
be
like,
good to climb
ah!
in at night.
I can't believe this aired on TV.
As
This
much
was
fun
so
as the hayride
scary
was gonna be,
and
I tried
freaky.
not to go 'cause I knew I would be paying for it with Cheryl for 6 months. But Dad wouldn't have it on account of the hayride being part of Roughing It. So on Friday night, a grumpy Cheryl and I headed down the road to catch the first 9 o'clock wagon.
We're
The
not
lady
going
in
to
the campsite next
space.
to us
We're
chased us
fine.
down with a flashlight. If we were going to the hayride, would we mind if her son tagged along? The boy's name was Tim, and he kept thanking Cheryl over
yeah,
and over
apparently
again
I
for
killed
letting him
Laura
come.
Palmer. I'm sorry,
Said he
everybody.
gave up the
I didn't
thought
think
of
it'd be
going
such a big
because he knew
deal.
his brothers would never take him. That's hard to believe, Cheryl said in a way that went over both of our heads. On the path down,
We're getting
to the lake,
closer.
Timmy and I got talking,
We're getting
and it turned
closer,
out he had a
folks.
dog just like us, and
This
that he
is
belonged to 4-H
probably
like I
this is
did.
literally my worst
Maybe I'll
performance in
see you
this
at boys'
game, which
camp
is
next
really
summer, I
cool that
told
I'm
him.
doing it on stream.
Probably not.
I think if you
I'll
suck
probably
at
be
video
dead by
games, you
then.
should stream.
Our steps slowly halted like a trio of toy soldiers whose batteries were worn down. What
Getting
did you
closer,
say, Cheryl asked?
folks. We're getting
I
closer.
didn't even think she had been listening. No, I don't make plans that far ahead. I've got some kind of cancer stuff, and the doctors say I may
What?
not live longer than 6 months. But if I do, I'll see if I can go, because it sounds like a lot of fun.
Excuse me, did you hear that,
Cheryl started
folks?
walking down the path again a little
Did you
faster.
hear that?
I wasn't sure if she didn't want to miss the 9 o'clock wagon or she just wanted to leave all that stuff about Tim dying way back behind us on the trail. As we
Okay.
got near the lake, we could hear the tractor start up. Come on, Cheryl yelled. We ran as fast as we could, but it was already packed with a few people already waiting for the next one.
45 minutes, folks.
The tractor driver yelled.
We'll be back.
Great, Cheryl said to no one in particular. Now I have to wait for something I don't even want to do.
Yesterday has a way of being gone.
What?
Tomorrow never seems to come along. I want to live in today. Don't want
I don't care what will be or what was. All I see is right now.
I'm
Right
sorry.
next to the hayride pickup was the main lodge
Kids?
where some of the older kids hung out. There, sitting on the porch, was none other than the kid with the long blonde hair. I thought
give
Cheryl
up.
would be thrilled to see him, but that just goes to show you what I know about older sisters.
Let's hear it for Jimmy the Pup.
And immediately hung a sharp right, but it was too late. Hi, Cheryl, he called. She smiled big and acted surprised. You're not going to the hayride, are you? Cheryl threw her head back and laughed real nervously as if the kid was absolutely bonkers. No. Who are the kids? What kids? She said. looking
Don't
right
ask me
past
about. Ask your mom about
Oh, I
cancer. I'm
thought
not
you were
answering that
walking with those
question.
kids. She shrugged.
Yeah,
I
me and
figured
your
I'd
mom
bug
are still
Cheryl enough
friends
for each night,
because
so
she
I
was
tugged
like,
him over to
I
the
was
hayride
gay,
line
and then
sat
it turned
down.
out she was
That
gay,
left
so we
Cheryl
were
and
just
Surfer
like,
Kid
well,
to wrestle with
shit.
the English language.
You know, it happens.
When you
We're
grow
both
up,
gay.
it
Your
seems
mom's
that you
gay,
get
I'm
better at
gay.
about everything
Your uncles are
along the way.
probably gay.
You
Your
get
aunts
bigger,
are
you
probably
get more
gay. This is just a big
coordinated,
old gay
you learn to
family.
talk and read. But right about 13, it's like this
Okay,
big steel
okay.
door slams down in
So
their
we've been
brain.
trying to do this for so long that
Not when
like,
they're alone or with family. It's just when they're with friends of the opposite sex.
what? What about the opposite
So,
sex?
Surfer Kid said, and Cheryl just shot her eyebrows up and down and giggled. So, Cheryl said right back. So you live around here? Yep.
I did it!
What do you do around here? She asked.
I did it! Oh my God!
Not
Everybody
much,
cheer!
Surfer
I
Kid
did
said.
it!
Cheryl nodded as if she knew
Now
that's
to drive
exactly
this
what
to
he did.
Temple, Texas.
After almost an hour,
Oh, I'm so happy.
the road, and I wondered how Cheryl
That
was gonna
took
get
so
herself out of
long.
this. As important as Surfer Kid was, I knew there was no way.
I am so sorry, everybody. I have nothing but apologies for that. I'm so sorry you had to witness
Tim and I
that.
got on the bales at the way back and yacked the whole way. About cars.
Anyways,
about
this
model
kid's dying of
airplanes,
cancer.
banks. He said he
No,
wished
no,
he had an
no.
older sister who could do stuff with him like Cheryl. His older brothers acted like he wasn't even there. When we were almost back to the lake, the tractor stopped for some kind of critter.
And this
across the
kid's
road
dying
and
of
then started up
cancer.
again with a lurch. At the time, I was standing up on the hay bale to see what kind of critter it was, and the sudden jerk spilled me off the back.
Also, let me know if the audio's loud enough. I can turn up the audio a little bit. Not much, but a little bit.
Farmhouse at the end of Wizard of Oz.
Okay, what's this
The
do?
only thing I could remember was that there
What's
was
this?
this neat hayride I wanted to go on. I kept asking Cheryl what day it was and where we were. Cheryl
Yeah,
walked me
I
around
have the
roads of
job.
Lake Shackamack forever that night, telling me all about the town.
I
we lived
have the
in,
job to.
school I went to, and
What is?
the names of my.
Did I
friends.
lose my job?
I don't really remember much about it, except walking back to the camp with her
No,
hand in
no,
hand,
it's fine. It's
wondering
fine. It's just a
exactly
different
why
job.
Cheryl
It's
was
okay.
holding my hand,
Don't worry about it.
and who the
My
kid
job's
on the other
fine.
side was.
All right,
By the
let's
time
pull
we
out
got
here.
back to the camp, I was
That
beginning to
that
realize
RV
that I
almost
had
hit me.
fallen and bumped my head, and that everything was going to be all right. Tim thanked Cheryl and started to
Listen,
run
don't
off,
make
but Cheryl
TikToks
said,
about
"No, it's
me.
okay."
I don't want to
And
be
walked
on
back
your
to the camp.
TikToks about how much I suck.
Dad was the only one still up.
Hey,
He
it
was
looks like the
reading by
UT
fire.
clock tower over there. That's cool.
How was the hayride?
Hayride sucked. Dad spent
right.
20
I
minutes.
said, looking at Cheryl's worried face.
I guess I should.
Just all right,
Guys,
Dad?
just for you, I'm doing the turn signals
No, it
because my
was
kids
really
are
neat,
here.
Cheryl said. We had a good time. That's great.
There.
Dad smiled and put his specs back on and went back to reading. Cheryl and I climbed into our sleeping bags. I was about nodding off when Cheryl said, "Sorry, Dave." Huh? Sorry for being such a jerk about going on the hayride.
Sorry, you're
It's
dying of
okay, I
cancer.
said.
Ugh.
And then I don't know how or,
You
or
should.
why, but I said,
Okay.
"So what was he like?" A surfer kid. In all of my 9 years, I had never asked Cheryl a question like this. I mean, all we talked about was who ate the last slice of bologna or have you seen my coat. Here I was asking her a question about real stuff.
I'm not ramming
boy
anybody,
question
kids. All 20 of you or however
He
many
was
are here.
okay. How about
Hey,
you?
I stopped the
Timmy seemed like a
stoplight.
pretty neat
Oh
kid.
man.
He
I
said
wanted
he'd
to have a
stop by
sip
tomorrow
of
and pick you up
sip
for
of this
swimming.
nasty drink. It's not that nasty. They use
terrible
coconut
it would
sugar
be not
instead
to
of
be able to
stevia,
look
and I think it really works.
Even a couple months.
If you want to dance on the roof, that's fine. That's
unfair.
dandy. Mom
And here
can't
I
stop
almost
you.
kept him from going on the hayride.
Mom is also a trucker. We're both
I started
truckers. That's how we
drifting off
met.
again, but Cheryl was afraid to let me, it seemed.
Yeah, I know CapCut's back, which is nice because that's what I used to edit my vlogs. And
On
I
one
was,
hand, I had a
for a
kid
while,
who
my
didn't have
vlog
a
was just
future.
like inaccessible.
Holding on to my other hand was a kid who suddenly didn't have a past.
Hey, that looks like
I was
Austin's
afraid we were never
downtown.
gonna be able to
But
remember
without
the
the.
time lightning
Where's the
hit the house
Jenga
across the
building,
street.
guys?
You thought we were all
Where's
gonna
the
go for
ugly
a
ass
ride on a
Jenga
fire
building?
Or the way Mom fixed up your bike for the Kiwanis parade with the umbrella and all the flowers. All I could think of was that you're never going to be able to remember.
They don't
that
have the
stuff.
building
Tell
I
your kid
hate.
Stories about when you were little.
It kind of sucks, but that's
Asking
okay.
Cheryl about the surfer kid
I
was
don't
one
think the
thing,
Jenga
but
building
now
is
it's way over
copyrighted.
my head now. So I
I
just kept
think
my mouth
that
shut
they
and
just didn't see it.
finally just drifted off.
Or they were like, this building's too ugly. We are never portraying it.
So let's get that.
Oops, I'm going too fast.
Now.
Was that? No, that's. Oh God, 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 oh God. It's fine.
And the contestants are Bubble
It's fine, kids.
and
Don't tell Mom.
Sugarless Gum, Bubble Yum, Bubblicious, and Fruit Stripe.
No,
And the
it's
criteria
fine.
they will
It's
have to
fine.
meet Is how easy it is to chew. how
Don't
it
hit
smells,
me.
How
It's
big the
fine.
bubbles are, the taste.
It's
the
fine.
Color, the packaging,
It's fine.
And the name.
No, you don't hear anything. You don't hear anything. Put down your cell phone. You're not calling Mom.
Who has a really easy time?
Who wants fruit stripe gum? That stuff
What kind is
sucks.
it? We have Bubble Yum and we have Bubblicious. Bubblicious, and the rest of this stuff is pretty tough.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about all the cyber trucks I do. I do occasional vlogs. I've done one vlog before, and I'm editing another vlog. that I'm doing for the mainstream, but I've been busy.
What does it smell like? Does anybody smell really good or does anybody smell really bad?
Really good.
Did they say it smells bad?
See, it smells like mango.
Yeah, it smells like.
It's the Bubblicious Tropical Tango.
It's just okay. Well, I have blueberry.
I want to know about the bad smelling gum.
There's a lot of different flavors here.
Does it all smell good?
Okay. Yeah, there's a Ripley's in San Antonio, actually. There's a Ripley's, believe it or not, plus a mirror maze. And I want to say there used to be a 4D Ripley's ride in San Antonio, but it recently got replaced with, they got rid of it and a couple other things to put in an Alamo Welcome Center.
You guys can't blow bubbles either. In the package,
I turned off the cops, by the way, so the cops will not be arriving.
By far.
Ours was hard to open. That's why
It's fine, it's fine.
Yeah.
The new dispenser.
Yeah, I'm not vlogging elsewhere other than on stream. I don't want to upload to like freaking. I don't want to upload to like YouTube.
Okay, what about your guys' name?
Okay, look, see, when I'm on the road, I drive fine. It's fine. And the speed limit's 70, so I can go crazy.
Not really. I think Bubblicious sounds pretty good to me.
Yes. Okay, so people are gonna blow bubbles one at a time, and everybody else is gonna rate how big the bubble is. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Sorry. Okay, Christina.
Yeah, I turned off the cops, so now the cops can't get mad at me. Good lord, the speed limit keeps going up. What the fuck is going on, man?
Three.
I gotta not. I'm too busy listening to the Audiomagazine.
Two. Okay.
I'm doing Bubblicious.
All right.
What kind of gum?
Oh, bubble. Bubblicious. A tropical tango, you know.
A Bubblicious tropical tango.
Five.
Fruit strength.
Blueberry.
This is a very weird segment with no visuals.
I have bubble yum.
Ooh. Like, what the fuck is even going on right now? You don't need turn signals on the freeway, don't worry about it.
I'm doing Carefree.
Carefree gum sucks. Don't chew that. Kids, do you want some gum? Kids, do you need some gum? I got some gum in the glove compartment. It's black licorice gum, though.
Okay, so
This is audio of children trying different bubble gums.
taste test. Okay, now remember all the things, the criteria. Remember everything and how easy it is to chew, how it smells, how big the bubble is, the taste, the color, the packaging, and the name. And then each partner group get together and talk about
steak night.
What you want to give it. And
Sorry,
A, B, C, D, or
it
F,
said
A
steak
being the
night.
best, F being the worst. And
This doesn't have any mods, by the way. This doesn't have any mods on. I turned all the mods off, so this is just straight trucking.
Judges, have you come to a decision?
Yes. Okay. So carefree. What have you just decided? A D.
Well, hell yeah, we're in Waco. Fuck yeah, everybody.
So low.
Let's go to the Dr. Pepper Museum. Let's go get our ass some Dr. P.
Okay. And bubble yum.
B plus.
B plus.
A, it was good and chewy. But C.
It was good and chewy.
Okay. Okay, and freak stripe.
B minus.
Okay.
It's kind of flat. How does this taste? This flavor really quickly.
Da 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 da.
Packaging.
Different kinds. Cheers.
Okay, and the Bubblicious.
A.
We gave it an A.
A. Why is this a good one?
Because it tastes really good and
The name was really catchy.
and the packaging's cute.
And
kind of
the
fun.
bubbles are big too.
Yeah.
were there. Okay.
All right. There's Waffletopia, which I guess is their Waffle House. I wish it looked more like a real place.
Does it taste good?
Hey, we got hamburger.
This is his flavor.
99 cents.
Those
That's.
lost their flavor really quickly. This flavor is gone already.
We got the Prime Rib Roadhouse, Taco Kingdom.
So.
We got a strip mall called Strip Mall.
Tropical Tango's the best.
No, we're not getting waffles, kids. We're moving.
What's the big idea? June of 1994, I was flipping through the television channels to find the basketball championships. On every channel was the same picture.
Wait. Here?
I figured there was no way.
Where am I
the same
supposed
car
to?
commercials
Okay,
could
I
be
guess
on all
here.
4 channels.
No.
Must be about
Okay.
the president or something like that.
It turned out that a well-known athlete was riding in that car, and the police wanted to talk to him about the murders of 2 people.
What?
For weeks, that was all that was on the newspapers and on TV.
It is
was
about
all
O.J.
parents talked about.
Why did this story get so much attention? Because, by some people's definition, it was news. What is news? How do we get it? And what should we all be on the lookout for when reading, watching, or listening to news?
My name is Michelle Tom.
And I'm the king of complicated stuff.
Okay, I'm going the wrong
When
way.
editors
Sorry,
and
kids.
broadcasters
Don't worry
decide
about
whether or
it.
not to put a
That's
certain
good
story
driving,
in
okay?
the newspaper or on a TV news show.
Okay, that's
they
fine.
must get yes answers to 3 questions.
And-
Is the story interesting? Is it timely? Is it accurate?
Next door to both countries, neutral Finland is following its long tradition of staying in the
Who's this
middle.
supposed to
I want more of that gross
Haven't you ever
but
seen
good
stuff
energy
that's
drink I
off
got.
the show?
Yeah, this is the first. This is the first issue. This is we're listening to the issues in order. So this is the first earliest issue that I found
That
archived.
doesn't interest anybody.
Well, your
No orange
grandmother-
juice. No orange Julius for you,
there.
kids.
Okay, if there were a
But if I
newspaper
see
for
it Dippin'
just my
Dots, we can stop.
grandmother, Who knows? That may be the lead story.
It works the other way around too, Michelle. The O.J. Simpson story wouldn't be a news flash from the Boomerang television station, because most kids remember him from television commercials, not as a sports hero. Whether
This
he did
is
it
so
or not,
weird.
It just seemed like another sad case of people killing each other.
Anyway, different news interests different people. It's editors and broadcasters' jobs.
Again, if I need to turn anything up, please let me know. I want to make sure you can hear
A news
this.
story has to be more than interesting. It must also be
This is
accurate.
insane.
Human baby born to goat. That's the kind of story that will get people's attention, all right. But did it really happen?
The supermarket line has a whole bunch of papers filled with stories that are interesting and have about as much fact in them as a pound of bologna. So those papers may be something, but they're not newspapers.
Finally, the story must be timely. President Kennedy assassinated. Interesting? Sure. Accurate? Yep. News? Nope. Because everyone already knows about it.
We get our news today from all kinds of sources. Newspapers.
Yeah,
media,
I need to clip out another sad case of people killing each other. You're
Not all
right.
news has gone high tech. We get a lot of our news the same way we did 3,000 years ago. Kids especially.
Not television, that's for sure. Or radio. I don't think they had newspapers back then, did they?
300 years ago, yes. 3,000 years, no.
All right.
Back then, they got news by asking the same old question you asked me an hour ago. ¿Qué pasa? What's happening? What's new?
You mean it was news when you told me your brother broke his finger playing softball this afternoon?
Well, ask yourself the big 3.
Is it interesting? Yeah, because I know him. Is it timely? Yeah, because you said it happened this afternoon. Is it accurate? Now that I can't tell you.
I can. Nick, get in here. Show her this finger.
What finger?
Oh, Nick.
No way. Kids need to know all about murder, I guess.
Died, the women would climb up onto the roof of the tallest building and cry and moan and wail. Part of the reason was because they were sad. But why up on the roof? So people in a neighboring area would know.
That's
of
right.
the death.
Always stop in front of train
Broadcasting the
tracks,
news.
and then you look left,
In America, we don't
and then you
send
look
women
right.
up upon the roof. We have
And then
other
you're
ways
good.
to spread news. Beauty shops, parks, diners, anywhere people go to talk and gossip. News spreads quickly because, let's face it, telling news is exciting. You bet it is. That's why it's so hard to keep secrets. But while word of mouth news spreads quickly, it gets kind of warped along the way. In my class, the teacher had us whisper a sentence to the kid in front of us. Mrs. Casper sold her Christmas card collection and moved to Seattle, Washington with her dog Toby. By the time it had been passed along to 30 kids,
Oh, look, it's a train!
Mrs. Hampton
It's a
sold all of her baseball cards
Yay!
and moved to Washington, D.C. with her son. I can imagine what happened.
All right,
to a long
let's not
story.
crash. We didn't crash.
300 years ago. And that really changed the delivery of the news. Suddenly, the exact same story could be passed along to hundreds, then thousands, and now millions of people. With news spreading so quickly and reaching so many people, it becomes all the more important that it be accurate. Sometimes in telling a story, we want to make it even better than it is. You see a 13-inch garter snake out on a walk. You run into the house and tell Mom about a snake that was 4 foot long, and it might have been a rattlesnake. That's no big deal when you're telling a snake story. The kids aren't the only people who exaggerate, including politicians, fishermen, and generals. And reporters. Come on, King. Reporters do a pretty good job of telling us what's happening around the world. Sure they do. 300 years ago, it took foreigners only 6 weeks to find out the king had died back in England. These days, before we get done with our Wheaties, we read about the colored dress the first lady was wearing the night before, and that the president had Jell-O for. Or was it really ice cream? You're talking about how quickly news is spread today, but let's get back to the accuracy part. Ever since news was first scratched into stone tablets, people were most likely to believe written news.
There is something about a train that's magic. I wish I was a train conductor instead of a truck driver, but that's not the way the economy works.
It must be true. That's why the old-time newspaper editor would always say to the reporter, "Tell me what the man said, not why he said it." What man? That's just a metaphor.
O.J. Simpson.
The editor
Sorry.
is telling the reporter to stick to the facts and let readers make up their own minds.
I would love
about what
Densha to
it
go
all
for
means.
Amtrak.
Be
That would be
objective.
so sick, but I believe that that's too good for this world.
Sounds like the difficult word detector choked on that word. News is objective when it's just the facts. At 10 o'clock, Bill Buswell poked
All
Eric
right,
Van
only
Boone
62
in the
miles
nose.
to go.
What happened? When did it happen? Who did it? Those questions could be answered objectively. Why did he do it? Unless Billy tells us, we reporters have to try
I
and
bet
figure out
Train
that
Simulator
ourselves.
has American
And that
trains.
is subjective reporting because it's our opinion. How are we supposed to know the difference? For one, objective stories never have the word I in them. For two, subjective stories are usually labeled. On television, they're called commentaries. In newspapers, they're called editorials. When we reported on Boomerang that skateboard riders' parks were being closed down because of insurance problems, that
Really?
was a fact.
Oh.
When we said it wasn't fair to kids to close the skateboard parks down, that was an editorial.
Okay.
Well, that sounds good, but sometimes being objective isn't enough.
Uh-huh.
Facts can actually confuse the truth. The facts confuse the truth? Man, you are talking some baloney. You're a member of the student council, right?
No.
Yes. Let's say you're helping clean up the student council room after a meeting when they counted the money raised for a bake sale. While you're sweeping the floor, you find a nickel. You put it in your pocket and keep sweeping. Do you think that deserves to be in the newspaper? Of course not. Ah, but if the newspaper editor wants to sell some newspapers, you might see yourself in the headlines. Michelle Tom caught filching money from the council room. Ah, come on. It's true, isn't it? I picked up a nickel. I didn't filch money. After they read the story, kids will know what really happened.
Will they?
Let's see what I could write. Michelle Tom, student council member and ace reporter on Boomerang's Big Idea, was spotted pocketing bake sale money raised by the student council for homeless children. Whoa, I don't know, Michelle. That makes you sound like a real sleazeball.
Yeah, Michelle, you sleaze.
But the story's true, isn't it? You didn't say how much it was, or that I found it on the floor.
By the way, driving through Texas is a lot like this. It's a lot of big open areas.
It's a busy world these days. Places to go, people to see. And remember, the way news agencies pick their stories is always subjective. Let's say you're the newspaper editor. You've got 2 stories and only room for 1.
Mm-hmm.
The two choices are, the school district will receive an additional 10 boxes of paper clips for the school next year.
Okay.
The other choice is that April Barnes was seen spray painting graffiti all over the walls of the new 4th grade classroom.
What the fuck, April?
Your definition of news is the graffiti story, definitely. I mean, kids are gonna want to know. It's
pretty hard.
That car just disappeared. Did you see that?
April is a friend of the
Hey, it's the amazing Bronco Jellyneck, psychic and manipulator.
These are just made-up examples, but there are real examples when just the facts cover up the truth.
Back in the 1950s, America was having a hard time with Russia and China, two communist countries.
Uh-huh.
All of a sudden, the worst name you could call someone was a communist.
They are communists. Now, why do you feel that they ought to be protected? We need to protect this country from the ideas that they're spreading.
It was meant to mean that you didn't love your country, that you were a traitor. A U.S. Senator named Joe McCarthy started accusing people he didn't agree with of being communists.
That's true.
Hollywood actors, writers, musicians, he came up with a whole list of people. And reporters wrote about it as if it were news.
It fits the description, all right. People wanted to hear about it. It was timely, and I guess it was accurate.
Well, it was true that the senator said those people were communists, but there was a small problem that they weren't.
I thought you were no longer a member of the Communist Party.
I'm not. I told you. I think you're still a member of the Communist Party, and I know some people that'd be very interested to know that.
We're in Tyler, folks.
Speak up, please, son.
When it was printed in all the papers as a fact, many of these people lost their jobs.
That's true.
Their lives were ruined.
That's
A
true.
famous radio and television reporter by the name of Edward J. Murrow to stand up to Senator McCarthy and show the world the truth.
The same kind of thing happened during the Vietnam War. The way American generals looked at it, their first duty was to win the war in Vietnam. If that meant lying to the public and the media, that was the breaks. Not until the war was halfway through did reporters start saying, maybe it isn't enough to report how many soldiers died that day. Maybe we have to start asking questions why we're over there to begin with.
You know the old story about the boy who cried wolf?
No.
The little boy who said he saw a wolf so often that when he finally did see one, no one believed him. What happened with Joe McCarthy and in Vietnam caused the opposite to happen. Reporters soon realized that just the facts, ma'am, kind of journalism wasn't good enough anymore. They had to sniff around the facts and see what caused those facts to happen. Now, when a government official says 2 + 2 = 4, they all go, well, let's do a background check on that.
The question is, how much snooping is too much? That's a tough question. Sometimes the news coverage gets a bit much, like when they tried to interview Chelsea Clinton's cat.
But it was good news reporting that discovered some crooked companies were charging the U.S. military, and us, $2,000 for a $15 wrench. It was good news reporting that caught former President Nixon covering up for a burglary. It's sad, but sometimes good news reporting is the only thing that keeps people honest.
Okay, I mean...
Hundreds and hundreds of years ago, when almost everyone had to scrounge to get enough to eat, it was considered kind of cool to be fat. Now that many societies manage to get
I bet this is going to be a normal segment.
Kind of cool to be thin.
When all the news was passed from person to person, it was considered to be kind of cool to gather as much news as you could possibly get. These days, we have 24-hour news channels where you can get instant reports on everything from TV stars to weather to criminals to sports.
I want to watch the Criminal Channel.
To ask themselves, how much news do they really need? Is it really all that important to know what Tanya Harding's bodyguard said to her boyfriend?
There's another strange problem about news, and more news. We begin to believe that all we have to do is sit in front of the tube with a newspaper, and we'll know everything there is about the whole world out there. News is important, and it can be interesting, but it doesn't take the place of going out there and seeing the world yourself.
And
I want to know about Tanya.
View, that's the big idea.
Folks, we made it to Tyler. Sorry, I'm in a hurry. I am not. No, you can do that yourself, folks. All right, I got an excellent and not much money, but...
Doctor, how's the boy who swallowed the $50?
No change yet, sir.
Time for jokes.
What time is it? 5:30 p.m. Oh no! I've been asking the same question all day and getting different answers.
Fuck it, what's happening in Houston?
What's gray on the inside and clear on the outside?
California! There's no I'm gonna make that. I need a shorter one. Fort Worth? Okay. How
Why does Mother
about...
Kangaroo hate rainy days?
Because the kids have to play inside.
There we go. Let's go from Houston. Let's drive to Houston and then go from Houston to Dallas. How's that sound? I think that sounds good.
I know, I just stepped into a poodle.
God, I want them to... Florida's coming.
Big Mouth Frog walked up to the lion and said, "Excuse me, Mr. Lion, what do you feed your babies?" And the lion said, "Deer, rabbits, antelope." "Thank you very much." So the Big Mouth Frog goes up to the monkey. "Excuse me, Mr. Monkey, what do you feed your babies?" "Well, I feed them bananas and fruit, and that's about it." "Thank you very much, Mr. Monkey." So the Big Mouth Frog goes over to the boa constrictor's house. "Excuse me, Mr. Boa Constrictor, what do you feed your babies?" "Well,
It's fine.
Big Mouth Frogs." I haven't seen any of those around here lately."
What the fuck was that joke? That wasn't... Kids? I don't know about this. Oh, I need gas. Next time I see a gas station, I gotta pull in. Let's go.
Do the right thing. Do the right thing. Do the right
Unfortunately, there are no Buc-ee's that I found, which is really sad. I wish there were Buc-ee's in this.
I live in Lake Bluff, Illinois, and I'm 10 years old. And if a girl was cheating
Fuck it,
on
running the
my
red light.
math test, I'd do what I could to cover up my paper, and then I'd stay after class to tell the teacher. My name is Erin Price.
Snitch.
I'm 11 years old. I come from Sperryville, Virginia. And yes, I would tell the teacher because it's not right to let people copy. Hi, I'm Etta Minter, and I live in Findlay, Ohio, and I'm 12 years old. My opinion is that I tell the teacher because I wouldn't want to get in trouble for it.
That's fair.
And cheaters never prosper.
My name's
Wrong. Cheaters prosper quite a bit.
9 years old. I'd probably tell the teacher that she was copying off my paper.
I wouldn't.
If she copied off my paper, then she might, get it all right, and then she would feel bad that she copied off my paper.
No, she wouldn't feel bad at all, honey. There's a fake Buc-ee's New Braunfels in this? Okay. Well, I need to go to New
Hi,
Braunfels.
this is Jessica with the Boomerang update of all the news you missed while you were asleep.
Okay.
Just when you think all the brilliant ideas have already been dreamed up, along comes a company by the name of Drive-By Fashions. Their clothes are kind of different, in that they have bullet holes in them. Yep, that's right. The owners manufacture a bunch of clothes and then blast them with semi-automatic weapons. Wow, why didn't I think of that?
Okay.
Well, maybe your fortune is fixing up old comic books. Susan Ciccone of Boston, Massachusetts treats stains, fixes tears, and fills in holes of old comic books. But before you grab your favorite dog-eared copy of Archie and Jughead and head for Boston, though, folks, you should know that Susan charges $75 per hour and has a waiting list of 100 people in 6 months. You see,
Hey,
Mrs.
cop, I'm going
Ciccone
to cut
is
you
no
off. I'm going
hack.
to cut off the cop.
She learned
Watch
her
this.
techniques at the Museum
Watch
of
this. I'm
Fine
gonna cut
Arts
off
in
this
Paris,
cop.
France, and works only on valuable
Come on.
comic books.
Come on.
Like a 1938 Superman that sold for $50,000 in an auction in New York.
I don't think I can.
In Danville, California, the parents of Andy Hansen sued the school district when Andy got a C in math. $4,000 later in the Hanson's family money, and $8,500 later in the school district funds.
Eat shit,
the
cop.
judge gave the Hansons his own grade.
Oh, I'm
F.
supposed to only going 55. Let me
The
slow
C
down.
stands. Man, all my parents do is ground me.
Parents suck, man.
This is the way to get us kids excited about high finance. 10-year-old Ryan Cobb of Arlington, Virginia, opened up a checking account for her Girl Scout cookie sales. When one of her customers gave her a bad check, the bank charged her a $12 fee.
What?
A week later, they put it through again, and it bounced, and she was charged another $12. When she wrote a check to cover some school lunches, there wasn't enough in her account because of these fees, and she was charged another $15. Ryan worked hard to sell $54.50 worth of cookies, but $39 of it ended up going to the bank for someone else's mistake.
Fuck the bank.
So much for the customer always being right.
Anyways, we gotta get gas.
When Ricky
Lufkin
Adams
is real.
carried
No,
his
it's a
little
real
8-year-old
city.
friend onto the airplane, all wrapped up in a blanket, there was no fuss. He didn't bother any of the other passengers, or scream or run down the aisle. However, when Alex was wolfing down his chicken, a flight attendant realized that Alex wasn't just an abnormally hairy kid. He was an ape. Well, a gibbon to be exact. Alex was allowed to continue the flight, but spent the return flight with all of the luggage because apes aren't allowed on passenger planes. However, the pilot reported that Alex was better behaved than most kids. Hey, what's that supposed to mean? Finally, Boomers, I'm absolutely thrilled to announce that archaeologists
I'm an ape!
have discovered a 9,000-year-old piece of gum. The gum had tooth marks in it and was made out of tree sap sweetened with honey.
Yum.
Aw, man. I wish we could have had that for our taste test.
Well, it tastes like an oak tree and it's kind of tough to chew, but other than that, it's pretty good.
This is Jessica with your news update, telling you that if you don't like the news, go out and make some of your own.
What do you think I'm doing, lady? I'm driving my rowdy kids.
I wonder how animals gathered around a desert oasis feel when they see camels loping up to the waterhole.
Yes, they did call you boomers.
I wonder if it's the same way I feel when we get done playing on a hot day with a bunch of friends and one kid stands there at the drinking fountain slurping for a zillion years while we're all waiting in the line dying of thirst.
Stop slurping.
Imagine having to wait in line after a bunch of camels, each of whom can drink 30 gallons of water in 10 minutes. No wonder people figure they store all that water in their hump. Hey, not everyone has one of those things on their back. Actually, some of the smaller camels have 2 of them. But more than one thirsty traveler who tried breaking into that hump for water
don't
has
tell
been
me it's
disappointed to
raining.
uncover instead a 90-pound mound of fat. That doesn't surprise
There we
me.
go.
It's not like there are any fast food places out there in the desert. Food is as scarce as water. So camels pack along extra fat to burn. But hold it. If all that water doesn't go into the hump, where does it go?
Yeah, what
I mean,
the fuck?
30 gallons is twice as much as most cars can take in gas. Where is the camel's tank? Some used to think that camels had a special compartment in their stomach. But sorry, nothing down there but gooey, green, globbish, undigested food.
Ew.
Scientists tell us that the water is carried through red blood cells into their body tissue. Most animals have round blood cells that would burst with so much liquid. The camel's blood cells are an oval shape and they can stretch. So, a scrawny, dehydrated beast can walk away from the watering hole an hour later looking like $1,000,000. Well, like a healthy, happy camel anyway. But that still doesn't explain how camels can tramp around the desert for weeks without anything to drink. Even 30 gallons of water doesn't last forever. The answer is that camels are simply stingy. What I mean is, they're built to make the best possible use of every drop of water they drink. They only urinate as much as a human baby, a fraction of their size.
That's so little!
They have a little groove leading from their nose to their upper lip to recycle any moisture that might gather there. And the real secret is the way they can control sweating. When we animals overheat from hot weather or jumping around, we sweat. Oops, excuse me, Aunt Sally.
The cigarettes will dehydrate them.
It's just one of the ingenious features of nature. When we start getting hot, water oozes up through our glands to cool us down.
Ew.
Now the camel's cooling system better work real well, because they live in the hottest places on Earth. And they're not just sunbathing either. camels can move as fast as 10 miles per hour.
That's not very fast.
Don't worry. Mother Nature knows what she's doing. Like no other animal, a camel raises and lowers its own body temperature. When it wakes up in the morning, a camel's temperature is 93 degrees. As the day gets hot, its body temperature rises all the way up to 105 degrees while still working just fine. Only if it starts to get even hotter does the camel begin to sweat. And then again, the camel is stingy. Unlike my brother, who can pit out a t-shirt just mowing the lawn, sweat
Ew.
moistens just enough skin under the camel's dense hair to cool it down. When you or I lose more
Yeah, are
than a
these
gallon
camels
of water,
murderers?
we start getting a little wacky. If we lose more than 2 gallons, it's adios. A camel
Adios?
can lose as much as 30 gallons of water before it runs into trouble. But then it might be too late. Have you ever heard the expression, the straw that broke the camel's back?
Yeah.
They have been known to trudge along like everything is fine and then keel over dead from exhaustion.
Oh.
The camel is often called the ship of the desert, and for good reason. Like a ship is specially designed for the sea, the camel is specially equipped for the desert. To keep out the blowing sand, its nose and ears can clam up airtight, and its eyes even have a double set of locking eyelashes. The camel's huge cushioned feet are tough enough to withstand sizzling hot sand, and, like snowshoes, large enough to keep them
Kids,
from
do you want me
sinking
to buy
down
you a
into the
camel?
sand. Watch any animal with 4 legs walk, and you'll notice they move the front leg on one side of their body at the same time they move the rear leg on the other side of their body.
Maybe I could be a camel
Not like our
driver
friend the
instead of the
camel.
truck driver.
It moves both legs on one
Public
side
boat
at the
ramp.
same time, making it lean from side to side.
No one wants a camel? Okay.
Over long distances,
I'll
it's
save me
much
some
more
money.
comfortable to ride camels than it is a galloping horse. You might get a little seasick, but there's no better place to get seasick than in the middle of the desert, right?
I guess. Oops.
Trudging through temperatures of 120 degrees for
There's
days
Humble.
without water, somehow you wouldn't expect camels to have bright, bouncy personalities. And, well, they don't. In fact, they can be downright ornery.
Nice.
Their bite or kick can seriously injure humans, and camel handlers
Oh,
swear
yeah,
they
camels
hold grudges.
bite.
They grunt, they snort, and they, well, let's just say they are not the kind of animal you want to share a sleeping bag with. But let's get the facts straight once and for all, boomers.
Okay, boomer.
Camels do not spit. And camels have been known to develop deep friendships with kind humans over their 40-year lifetimes. I wonder if camels have an imagination. I mean, I read about one camel in Australia who traveled 537 miles in 37 days without one sip of water. As that camel was trudging in on the last leg of its trip, what was the camel dreaming of? A big, frosty mug of root beer? A shiny stainless steel truck full of ice-cold milk? Maybe a lake or two? This is Elena with another natural wonder.
That's it for this issue, Boomers, but stay tuned. Next issue, we're going to take a look at all the hype about the information superhighway, and television star Valerie Harper begins a series of new segments on mythology.
So take care of each other out there, Boomers, and remember, it all comes back.
Nothing could be brighter than the feel of light around the internet.
No, okay, we're fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Well, folks, let me pull over so I can change audio cassettes. There we go. Hold on, I need to pull over to the shoulder. Move. Don't worry about the people we shot. We got, kids. Okay. There we go. We're listening to issue 8. Folks, I have to make my own pit stop, so I'm going to be right back.
Name is Fred, and why do you want to know?
There's a crime wave in the neighborhood, and I'm trying to do something about it.
Cheapers, I think one detective around here is plenty. What's with King?
I think King got all revved up by his big idea piece on crime and punishment. How about you, Josie? What are you up to this issue?
Well, Chief, I'm going back in time to rub noses with Peter Rabbit. I'm talking with his creator, Beatrix Potter.
Let's see what else we have this issue. Toby sends us an audio postcard from the White Mountains in New Hampshire. And Dave Schmave has a great story about his bike, Old Yeller.
I thought Old Yeller was a dog.
It is. This is Old Yaller. I hope he doesn't end up having to shoot it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, start those thinking machines.
My name is Brian Domitilli, and I'm one of the Boomerang kids here to help you keep up with what's up. We've got stories, songs, kids' views of the news, and some of the wackiest jokes you'll ever hear.
So grab some leftover turkey from the fridge, put on those earphones, and feed your head.
Hi, I'm back. Oh, and by looking at chat, I guess the show got good while I was gone.
Money. It comes and it goes. I get a birthday card with a $5 bill in it from Grandma.
Hi, Grandma.
I earn $10 a week for washing dishes and taking out the trash. Every once in a while, I even find some money in the couch.
Hi, Basic. I'm back. Digi, I'm back.
Movies, CDs, socks. Books,
I apparently missed something. Oh, someone got shot.
Really
cool.
Know how much money comes in and how much goes out.
Is this issue 9? Hold on. Hold on.
They can plan ahead. Even
Hold on.
Like Freddy's rhubarb and banana sandwich stand.
Hello, Fred. 2 R&Bs to go. Extra brown sugar.
Coming right up, Mr. Cooney.
So, how's business, my boy?
It's pretty good, I guess.
You say...
Well, let's put it
Yeah, it's supposed to be issue 8.
than I have to spend today. That's good, isn't it?
Oh, yes, Fred. That is definitely a good sign.
Yeah, no, it's playing issue 8. It's playing issue 8. It's not playing issue 9. I had to check, but yeah, it's playing issue 8.
Some books, Mr. Cooney. Look, they're under here somewhere. Yeah, see, I kept all these Tarzan books. Have you ever read them?
Oh, I have, Fred, and they're splendid, but...
Oh, no, they changed issues. I manually switched the name in whatchamacallit, in OBS.
No, not accounting, Fred. Accounting. Accounting is keeping track of money, Fred. Nothing magical about it. I can testify that accounting books aren't as much fun as Tarzan.
Oh, no, I'm doing... that's why I pulled over. Oh, shit, Game Quoter! Gifting 5 subs to the community. Thank you, Game Quoter. You didn't have to do that, but thank you so much. Yeah, I guess I'm on a hype train now. Thank you. I'm crashing. I'm normal driver.
Book in my car. I was going to give it to my son. Do you have a minute?
No.
I don't have to be in bed.
Big subs. Yeah, thank you.
That should be plenty.
It's fine.
Income is easy to remember. It's money that comes in.
Hey, that's kind of nifty.
People can have...
This issue is from 1994. All the issues I'm playing today are from 1994. One of them is erroneously called erroneously. One of them does say it's from 1996, but it's from 1994. Okay, it's fine. It's okay. We're good. We're good. We're good.
Okay,
we're good.
Here's my $1, so write that down here. And then every time someone buys a sandwich today, you put $1 under the date.
Okay.
Sometimes I sell one to my buddies for 25 cents less.
Oh, very good. Then you will only put 75 cents for them.
That's all there is to it?
No, not quite. On the other side of the book, we're going to write...
We're almost to Houston.
Did you spend any money today?
Well, the bread lady comes today.
Good. As soon as you pay her, you write down under today's date how much you paid. And you do the same with any other expenses. At the end of the day, you add up all the income and write that at the bottom of the page. Then you add all the expenses and write that at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, no, the Conan books are extremely racist.
Expenses, you're making money, Fred.
Hey, this is kind of cool. I can tell what day of the week was my best day, and what season of the year was my worst.
Thank you, Anonymous Gifter, for gifting this up to Xinjin Meng. Let me go up here on this big old... There we go.
Are you going to send me a bill?
I have to say, I think I'm doing okay at it, but paying attention to chat and driving at the same time is hard.
Go up there.
Because every time I look at chat, I crash.
I've got friends who keep
Like so! Like fucking so! Like, no! No!
Get the ladder out. Will someone please explain about Mr. Cooney's bill?
It's time for letters from all your subscribers about the funny things grown-ups do.
I was looking at chat. I was looking at chat.
Miami, Florida.
Boomerang. My dad always complains that there's a sockety monster in our house. He can never find a pair of...
Oh, I got real fucked up. Let's go. Let's tow to service.
Ooh.
Running a little low on product.
And look under
It's fine.
Monster Busters.
Yeah. I didn't mean to make your Dr. Pepper go everywhere.
In Salt Lake City,
Oh,
Utah.
it's fine.
Dear Boomerang, whenever we go shopping, Mom never lets me and my sister get any. What good is all that food in the house?
Oh, I can barely afford it.
We call that the hope factor, Hank. Your dad buys pants with a 34 waist and hopes he can fit into them. Your mom writes a check and hopes there's enough money to cover it. And
Your mom should probably not bounce checks.
good for us.
It's fine. I'm good.
Well, you know what? Brussels sprouts actually aren't too bad if you close your eyes and think about hot fudge sundaes. Finally, here's a
Brussels
letter
sprouts
from
are good now. I don't know what this kid's talking about.
Dear Boomerang, my dad pretends to be this great cook just because he can cook spaghetti. Whenever he tries to cook anything more difficult, burns it, overcooks it, or just plain mashes
We're good. We're normal. Kids, you survived, right? Don't tell your mom. Your mom's got a much better truck driving record than me.
funny things grown-ups do. And maybe you'll hear yours in the next issue of Boomerang.
I had some really good Brussels sprouts the other day.
I don't know Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter.
Other letters to follow included stories of Rabbit who narrowly escaped the Garden of Chicks grew up in London, England. Raised by a series of nannies, she hardly saw her mother and father during the first fondest memories of those times were frequent long holidays, family, servants, and nannies. That's where Beatrix developed her love for nature. Traveling back in
There we
time
go.
to
There we go. We're good. We're good. Don't worry about it.
chamomile tea out on the grass with Beatrix
That's called talented driving. It's gate that one. Oh God. Oh God. Why did I look at chat while driving? Okay, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yes, well, book publishers pinly if they select your book to be printed. All 6 of them sent it right back. They weren't interested. I'd earned some money with my drawings here and there, so I simply paid to have it printed.
Hey, I survived. I didn't die. The car could still move.
Well, and they're going to pay me for. Winkle, do please stop making such a fuss over Josie. You will upset her tea.
Here we go.
That's okay. Have you always had animals?
Oh, indeed, yes. Thumb and Hunker-Munker, 2 field mice we rescued from Opie, and Manda were lizards. There was Sammy, the rat, and Punch was a green frog. Sawmouse was my favorite of favorites. I once thought she would last as long as myself. She'd been so sensitive.
It's fine. My truck's fine.
Asthma medicine. But one night, she laid herself down in my hand and died.
Jesus!
Poor little thing.
What a lovely set of stuff they teach us.
Then there was Benjamin
Boomerang Audio Magazine. You're gonna learn about death and you're gonna like it.
Oh, yes.
They don't have drive. If there's a drive-through, I don't know if they're doable.
Household was never lacking in pets. Yet,
Listen, just because your dad's gotten you in a few crashes, you're all coming out scratch-free. So does it really matter?
Model from which to draw. Back in London, I discovered that a next-door neighbor raised guinea pigs. I borrowed and drew one named Mr. Chops.
My truck's driving a little funky, but it's
A
okay.
very particular guinea pig with a long white ruff, known as Queen Elizabeth. This pig, offspring of Titwillow II, descendant of Sultan of Zanzibar,
Titwillow.
Distantly related to a still more illustrious animal named...
All right, good hype
Lycaonia.
train, folks. I only crashed a few
wretched
times. I only crashed a few times.
Pasteboard and strain and
Hype train
other
too
curious
strong.
substances
Hype train
would
too
die
strong. It makes me
during
crash.
life.
Oh, I got a hype
Feelings
chest, but I
that
can't click
imagined
it.
When I found this damp, disagreeable body in the morning. Neighbor was very reasonable, though. I gave her the drawing. Strangely enough, I've never learned to draw people to my satisfaction. Perhaps they're more difficult to draw.
Beatrix
Or
Potter
like
can't draw people because
I
she's a
simply
furry.
feel closer to animals.
Miss Potter, when did you first start drawing?
Don't worry about the cars I killed. They're
I
fine.
started drawing very young.
They drove away.
I drew
It's okay.
birds' eggs,
It's not like I crashed into a
caterpillars,
Cybertruck or
and fungi.
anything.
I still have 2 pages of pictures I drew when I was 9. Rabbits pulling sleighs, carrying umbrellas and the like. But I did my first commercial work, that is, the first drawings for sale, when I was 24.
Okay. Okay.
Using Bouncer as my model, I drew 6 Christmas card designs, and a firm bought them on the spot for £6.
That's not much, lady.
Funny that Christmas should bring me success. For Christmas had always been a sad time for me.
Oh,
When I
no.
was young, the cold, damp weather of London always seemed to prey on me, and I can remember spending plenty of holidays home in bed, all alone. In any event,
That's
I was so
okay.
thrilled with the sale. I ran home and fed Bounce a cupful of hemp seeds. Turns out, hemp seeds do to a rabbit what a glass of wine does to my grandmother.
Oh.
I tried to draw him the next morning,
Beatrix
and he was intoxicated and wholly unmanageable.
Beatrix Potter got her rabbit stone.
Thing. I was certain that Bunny came to my bedside in a white cotton nightcap and tickled me with his whiskers.
Aha, there's the imagination starting in. There's always been something special for me about the tale of Peter Rabbit. The animals act like real rabbits and move like rabbits. If they
What do
dress
you
up in
mean
clothes
vehicle
that they
malfunction?
so obviously
It's
fancy,
fine.
but still so
I can't
real.
afford it.
Yes. Well, in many ways, life in the grass and under the trees is more real to me than that of fancy motor cars and hurrying from one business appointment to another. I guess there is something inside me that wants the best of both worlds. Our family would take long holidays to the Lake Country in northern England. Bertie and I spent all
Yeah,
of our
check
time
engine, it's still
together,
there, man. It's
exploring
going good.
footpaths, collecting fossils, plants, and flowers. And back in London, Mother wouldn't let us play with other children, lest we catch some of their germs. Or even worse, their bad manners. So, besides each other, the animals were our best friends. Oh, I loved it so, Josie. I remember every stone, every tree, sweetest music mortals can hear, the murmuring of the wind through the fir trees. Even when thunder growled in the distance, and the wind swept up the valley in fitful gusts, it was always beautiful. Sun sinking, showing behind the mountains, the purple shadows creeping down ravines, mist rising from the river. An hour or two later, the great harvest moon would rise over the hills, dance on the smooth turf.
Okay, we're
Faint in
doing
the
good.
distance, nearer and nearer came
What do
the
you think we're
strange
hauling,
wild
chat?
music of a breeze.
And don't say dead
Mrs. Potter, you
animals,
say the
because I
animals
know
were
we've
your
seen a
very
lot of
best
that,
friends seem
but...
to be the type to get all mushy about them when they die. I mean, Rabbit, where Mrs. Bunny is warning everyone to stay out of Mr. McGregor's garden. She says your father had an accident there. He was put in a pie
Horses.
by Mrs. McGregor.
Okay.
I mean, that's sort of heavy to have your dad show up in a pie.
It is heavy.
Say exactly.
Yes, well, like that happen, don't they? While nature is never consciously wicked, it can be quite ruthless. Animals die, people die, plants die. But that's not such an awful thing. The important thing is to respect life while it is living. Bertie and I used to catch and train wild rabbits. When one would die, we'd often boil it until only its bones were left. We're very scientific about it. Remember, when my brother went off to boarding school, he left me with his bat, which proceeded to get ill almost immediately.
All right, we're going to Laredo.
He wrote back saying, If the bat cannot be kept alive, as I suppose he can't, you had better kill him and stuff him as well you can. Be sure to take measurements most carefully before you stuff him. That is, the length of the head, body, tail, humerus, radius, femurus, tibia, pollex, and on and on. Loved our animals, Josie. Life continues. It's too full, too rich, and time looking over your shoulder.
The next 8 years, Miss Potter was far too busy to look over her shoulder, churning out one charming tale after another. The Tailor of Gloucester, Benjamin Bunny, Squirrel Nutkin, Two Bad Mice.
I think it's over there. Okay.
Books were selling well, and Beatrix enjoyed the little bit of independence money gave her. Better yet, Norman Warren, a partner at the publishing house, had asked her to marry him. Beatrix was overjoyed. At the age of 39, she still lived at home, and she was looking forward to a new chapter in life. But no sooner had she agreed than Norman got sick. And at the early age of 37, he died. Norman had been more than a warm, kind gentleman. He had been her trusted partner in publishing. Now she was truly alone. She could have quit writing, hid away at her parents' house, and felt sorry for herself. Instead, she took several weeks off to catch her breath, then began sketches of a frog named Jeremy Fisher. Years later, Beatrix Potter did get married, and together with her husband, happily raised sheep out in the English countryside. First prepared the 42 black and white sketches and a few hundred words of text for Peter Rabbit. She hoped to sell 250, maybe even 500 copies. It sold millions. Now, almost 100 years later, Peter Rabbit is still one of those rare books that kids and parents like reading together. I've never quite understood the secret of Peter's popularity and charm. Perhaps it's because he and his little friend are on their way, busily absorbed in their own doings.
It's fine!
This is one kid who's glad Beatrix Potter kept on her way. This is Josie Marion with another turning point in world history.
Do the right thing, right thing. Do the right thing.
Okay, I think we got this.
I think that life is kind of funny, the way that people see events in black and white, just when you think it's clear and sunny. There comes a time when you can't tell what's wrong from right.
Hey, I got on the wrong side again.
All of a sudden, they start talking about another friend, saying mean things about him.
It's fine.
What do? On side 2, you'll hear some of our subscribers' answers.
Washed his face in a frying pan, combed his hair with a broken chair, and died with a toothache in his ear.
Yeah.
Going up. Redman, got your trusty steed with you today, I see.
Do you mind if I bring my bike on the elevator with me? I don't want anybody to steal it.
Nah, that's fine. I'd have Old Yeller in here with me, except it's not one of those bikes people would ever think of stealing.
Old Yeller?
Yeah, my bike. It's not one of those shiny models with 18 speeds. It's a hand-me-down, and someone along the way painted it the same pukey yellow as holiday, just like Labor Day or Thanksgiving. It was for us kids anyway. In the morning raid, you decorated your bike up with crepe tassels and ribbon and rode from the square out to this is where the real thing. They weren't divided up girl-boy or by age or anything like that. It was who was the fastest, period. Most kids knew they weren't going to win, but that was okay. Because
so I was going the right way. That's fine. That's fine.
And coming in 32nd was like
kids, this just gives you more time to read books. You should be reading, right? You're reading books.
When he ran into a garbage can and his parents sued the city.
The hauling goes poorly. My vehicle's about to die because I crashed, but that's fine.
Okay, if you're going to sue us, then we just won't have it. Which sounds fair, except only one family sued them and they punished the whole town, which is how it always seems to happen.
It's fine.
If it's a bike day, you can't cancel bike day any more than you can cancel Monday or Tuesday or Abe Lincoln's birthday. But of course they could. That would have been the end of it, except for Mrs. Blount. It was breakfast time and I was making designs of my oatmeal with green sprinkles when Dad said there was a letter in the paper about bike day. Listen to this, he says. The city council's a Grinch for canceling bike day, and the rest of us are a bunch of ostriches for letting them do it. He dropped his spoon. Mom dropped her jaw, and I dropped sprinkles all over the table. All right, Terry said. Who wrote it? Who wrote that letter? You'd think the poor lady would have other things to worry about, Dad mumbled. It's Elizabeth Blount. You know, the old lady who lives down off the schoolyard? Dave knows Mrs. Blount, chirped Cheryl. Don't you, Dave?
excuse me. 2 weeks ago, Ronnie Weber and I got caught stealing grapes from her backyard. We were stuffing our faces when she snuck up behind us. Ronnie and I both took off.
Is someone gonna die of cancer in this one too?
Left his bike there. He begged me to go back there with him to claim it. You can imagine walking up to her house to say we were the kids who stole the grapes was not exactly at the top of my list of things I wanted to do that day, but Ronnie was my friend and I stole grapes. The old lady opened the door and we just stood there with our heads down, kind of cringing and waiting for the lecture to start, but Mrs. Blount just gave us a nod of her head, turned real slowly and walked away. She had wild horses on her wall. Lilacs on the table gave the house a fresh garden smell instead of the stuffy, stale one I had expected. She was gone for what seemed like forever. Ronnie thought she was calling the FBI, and just when I was starting to worry myself, she came back with the bike. When Ronnie reached for it, Mrs. Blount turned to me. "Well, son, I know why your friend is here, but why did you come?" I wanted to say I was sorry for taking your grapes, I stammered. She looked at me in a weird sort of way and smiled. We said thanks, came around and started down the walk. And she says, "Boys, come back here a moment, please." Rose. After escaping from the mouth of the dragon, the last thing you want to do is head back inside. But once we were stopped, it would have been pretty rude to run. We went back. She was fiddling with something on the wall. She held it out for us to see. It was a picture of a girl standing on top of a horse looking more like Annie Oakley than Annie Oakley. "That was me when I was your age." Ronnie and I looked at each other like, well, huh. I said neat, then we bolted outside, and I thought that was going to be the last I would be seeing of Mrs. Blount. By the time I got back to the table, the conversation had turned to Louis Aparicio stealing home. Saved by the bathroom once again. But in a case of suicidal curiosity, I couldn't help but take the talk back to you-know-who. "Dad, what did you mean about Mrs. Blount has other things to worry about?" There was always an 8-second delay when Dad was reading his newspaper. Right on schedule, he tossed his answer from behind the crumple of black and white. "She's getting tossed out of her house by that real estate scammer." "Now, John," Mom says. "The whole town knows Stanley Richland is no better than a common thief," Dad went on angrily. "He looks for old people who are having trouble and gets them to borrow money from his company. When they can't pay up, he takes their house." "He can do that?" I asked. "Oh, it's all right in the contract. Old people either can't read it, or they don't know what it means, or they don't think they'll live long enough for it to affect them. My God, she only borrowed $5,000. Her house is worth 10 times that." And Dad goes into this sermon about how people used to take care of the elderly in the old days, how Native Americans respected old people for their wisdom, how we just use people up and toss them away like an old pop bomb.
Jesus, Dad.
One kid slipped away. When I looked back through the stair banister, Dad was just yakking all by himself from behind the newspaper. I didn't exactly understand all the stuff Dad was saying, but I couldn't stop thinking about old Mrs. Blount. I thought her letting Ronnie and I off the hook was a righteous thing to do, and now
it was
here she
righteous.
was sticking up for kids just like the ones who were always stealing her grapes and traipsing all over her flowers. That week, a big bicycle company announced they were going to sponsor Bike Day. They were going to do a big publicity deal with it and offer huge cash prizes for each race. I mean huge. $5,000. Coincidences happen sometimes. Once my dog ate my math homework and Dave Camilla's dog ate his math homework on the same day. But when something like this happens, you have to recognize this is no stupid coincidence. This is a
mission. Did it! I did it! Woo!
Mission for me and my bike, Old Yeller. Yeller weighs a ton and she's not pretty to look at. Come on, what you want for free? Terry gave her to Bob, Bobby gave her to Cheryl, and Cheryl, she gave her to me.
Oh my God, the song.
She doesn't have a horn, a light, or a kickstand. She's just this big hunk of metal. But she's all this boy needs. 2 tires, 1 seat, 1 speed. And that is just as fast as I can pedal. We rode the city park to the square. We rode out to the fairgrounds and around Riders Woods. The day before the race, my skinny legs were still skinny. I wasn't like the movies at all. There would be 3 races, the 100-yard sprint, a hill climbing race, and the buddy race from City Park to the square. The buddy race was ride a friend on your bike. They kind of wanted to make it a kid-parent thing, so you got to subtract the number of years old that your partner was from your time. If your time was 3 minutes and 40 seconds and your partner was 30 years old, then your time was 10 seconds. They figured that older people were bigger and heavier anyway, so it all kind of worked out. The day before, there wasn't a kid in sight. Everyone was at home shining up their spokes, and I kind of sleepwalked through the parade. I wrapped some ribbon around my spokes, but my mind was on the races. My time for the sprint race was my best ever.
No.
37th.
No.
The next race, the hill climb, I figured I would do better because I'd been practicing it all week, and I did. I was 19th. For a kid my age and all, I guess that was pretty good, but pretty good was not going to win the race, and pretty good was definitely not going to get Mrs. Blount's house back. The buddy race was my last chance. My buddy was supposed to be my 4-year-old sister, Colleen. I figured she was so skinny that most kids' bicycle horns weighed more than her, but that morning she chickened out and Dad said he would do it instead. A half hour before race time, Dad gets on for a practice spin, and I couldn't even budge off away from the curb. I wasn't just pedaling him, I was pedaling about 78 cheesecakes as well. Started up his old, well, you did your best, pep talk, but I was too bummed out to hang. Steered Yeller through the people off onto the side streets. Rode for a while, and then I got up. I hopped the curb in front of Mrs. Blount's house, and Yeller kept right on rolling until she crashed into the bushes. I banged on Mrs. Blount's door. Mrs. Blount, please be home. She pulled the door open, and before she could say anything, I blurted out, Mrs. Blount, I need a favor. Will you trust me? She thought about that question for about 30 seconds. You're the young man who was snitching some of my grapes, aren't you? Yes, ma'am. My name is Dave, and I'm awful sorry about that, but I'm riding in the races today, and I've just got to win this race. It's more important than you could ever imagine, and, well, it's a buddy race, and I need to ride a buddy on my bicycle. Yes? I know you're kind of old and all, and I know that I said yes, Dave. No, you don't understand.
Yeah, the skipping sound is like you're just a kid falling asleep in the back of my truck. Sorry about that.
It took us 5 minutes to figure out how she would ride. She tried riding side saddle on the main bar, and that didn't work because she tilted us to one side. Then she tried riding on my fender, and that made the tire scrape. She would have to go on the handlebars.
You're gonna crash and kill this old lady, aren't you,
dude?
dude?
Step, she slipped gently down onto my bars, leaning up against my shoulder. So far, so good. The only problem is we weren't going anywhere yet. Once we were, that was gonna be it. It wasn't like she could hop off or anything, and the bar was too high for me, so I couldn't just stop it without laying it down.
All right, we're off, folks.
Away from the steps, and we
Our vehicle is 30% damaged, and that's fine.
Weighs a ton and she's not pretty to look at. But come on, what do you want for free? Terry gave her to Bob, Bobby gave her to Cheryl, and Cheryl, she gave her to me.
Okay, next time it malfunctions, I'll take it in for treatment, but I'm good, all right. I'm good so far.
She's just this big hunk of metal. But she's all this boy needs. 2 tires, 1 seat, 1 speed. And that is just as fast as I can pedal. Blocks to get used to Mrs. Blount on the bike. I asked her if she was okay. I'm talking to an old cowgirl. Now let's pick up a little speed. We go around these corners, remember? It's important.
My truck really sucks, but I'll do okay. I got a lady in here, and I'm really gay.
People started blew up big. All right, Schmave, he yelled. Raced up to the reviewing stand and wrestled the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please give a hand to the handsome young couple on Old Yeller?
Yeah, do people not say filching anymore?
People like they were standing still.
Has time changed?
They were standing still. But even after other teams started pedaling, we passed Alex Kulisek and his dad, Jennifer Terry and her friend Gail, Tom Newmeyer and his mom. It felt like my back was a sail the size of a drive-in theater screen, and there was a hurricane blowing us along. About 3/4 of the way to the square, we pull up side by side
All
with some guy
right.
and his dad. Mrs. Blount turned her head halfway toward me. That's him. Who's him? He's who? That's the man who's going to get my house. I buried my head into her back and bore down. With the age difference, we already...
Ada, the invader, welcome. Here, let me pull over so I can give you a shout out. Just gently pulling over here. Don't worry about it. Oh, there's a coffee shop over there. Hold on. Let's go get some coffee.
No one within 15 feet.
Hold on.
Of course, we still had that problem of not being able to stop, so we whipped out into the back streets of town.
Almost there.
The crowd noise and the rush of wind.
All right, we're at a, I guess that's supposed to be a Starbucks.
Now coast down the empty streets.
Yeah, let's it looks like there's some service stations around here, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get myself serviced.
Mrs. Blount showed me
Visit service immediately, you don't
my
say,
paper
huh?
route was. One thing led to another, and before long we were gabbing like a couple of kids who hadn't seen each other all summer long.
Oh, I hope I have enough money to fix my car.
Kid just like me. Top floor. Boomerang.
But, what?
Thanks, Maeve. Say hi to Old Yellow for me.
Oh, let's see how much this costs me. Oh,
to Boomerang's Guide to Fine Cuisine. My
Okay,
name is
we're
Jessica.
good.
As you probably
We're
know by
good.
now, the only reason the rest of the kids on the magazine let me do this segment is because I've got a partner who knows how to cook. So voila, let me introduce that famous French chef, Jacques Latour.
Yeah, there wasn't cancer in that story,
Jacques
at
here
least.
sounds more like a voice in the French language tape than a French chef. That's because Jacques really is a voice in the French language tape. But the rest of the staff doesn't know French from Outer Mongolian. They'll never figure it out. Besides, I wear the apron in this kitchen.
Okay.
In honor of Monsieur Latour's homeland, we have a very special dish today. But before we get into it, Jacques, I beg of you, let's put on something a little less and a little more...
Again, if there's no visual, you don't know what that means, kids.
French toast.
Je désire rendre rendez-vous avec
Really?
Monsieur Despentes.
Jacques here says French toast is about as French as spaghetti is Russian. Jacques, I thought it was Italian.
Mon mari.
Oh yes, a little joke. Oh, those funny Frenchmen. Look, I'm not the person who named this stuff. I just douse it with syrup. Anyway,
Same.
First let's lay out the ingredients. We will need several pieces of bread, milk, eggs, and cinnamon, and powdered sugar. Now, what's first, Jacques, my boy?
Je suis ici, voyage d'affaires.
Okay, if that's what you want. First, we crash 2 eggs into the mixing bowl.
Crash?
Not crash, crack, gently.
No shit, kid.
Pardons, boomers. My French has gotten a little rusty over the past few months. Okay, let's gently crack 2 eggs in the mixing bowl and add 7 tablespoons of milk. Gently whisk the milk and egg mixture until it's thoroughly mixed up. Milk, eggs? Are you confused?
No.
Maybe,
Sounds like they are to me, Jacques. What's next?
Mes amitiés à votre tante et à votre oncle.
Oh, my lucky pieces of bread. Let's go for a little soak.
Great! Let's grab a towel! Hot tub! Hot tub!
No, this is not a hot tub. What are you guys, California crackweed or what? Now, when I visited my French toast is...
California crack?
Well, it's a secret. Jacques, if I
Kids, where did you find these audio tapes? Where did you get these? And don't say the library, because...
Now, don't make bread so stale that it cracks when you drop it. Give that to the ducks. I mean, slightly stale. So why should we use stale bread? First of all, it tastes better. If you put fresh bread, you know, the Wonder Bread type, into the milk and egg mixture, it's going to come out soggy as a day-old diaper.
Ew.
When you use slightly stale bread, it retains its texture a little better. Plus, of course, your mom isn't going to try to pass off the stale stuff in your sandwich at school tomorrow. Yes, well, that's an excellent suggestion. But I'm afraid some of us don't live down the block from a French bakery, my friend. Jacques says to use some fresh French bread. It isn't mealy like our wimpy white American stuff. So here's your choice, boomers. You stale wimpy white stuff, French bread, or I've got another surprise. My friend Amy brought home cinnamon rolls one time. We cut them in half and use those instead.
Okay.
Cinnamon English muffins or cinnamon bread works fine too. After soaking both sides of the bread in the mixture for 30 to 40 minutes,
I have not had French bread, and French toast in so long. There are places that do gluten-free French toast, but I just haven't been there.
There isn't too much you want to be eating with little brown splotches. Sprinkle a little powdered sugar, a dollop of butter, and some maple syrup. And boomers, you have something to eat besides Captain Crunch for the 10th day in a row. Your guide to fine cuisine, saying thanks for cooking along. Say goodbye, Jacques.
Does anyone here speak English?
They do eat Texas toast in Texas.
What's the big idea?
And they do make gluten-free Texas toast that's really, really good.
When people talk about 3 strikes and you're out, they're not talking about whipping a batter. They're talking about putting someone in prison for the
They
rest
are.
of
It's
their
California
lives.
law.
Crime seems to be what everyone is talking about these days. News stories are filled with it, and politicians get voted into office or out of it, because crime is the one thing that worries grown-ups the most.
When kids are asked to rate things in order of importance, crime comes in somewhere down there between high-fiber diets and chihuahua breeding.
Unless they live in a high-crime area, that is. Then it's a matter of life and death. My name is Michelle Tom.
I don't know what the horn button is, but if anybody knows what the
causes
keyboard
people to
shortcut for
commit
the
crime?
horn is, let me
And
know.
what should be done with people when they do? Is it more important to help or to punish them?
The story you're about to
prophecy is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
This is too heavy for kids. I'm sorry. Is it H?
Sandy Toronto came home from school to find her room ransacked. Clothes were
It
all
is
over the
H.
place. There was chapstick
Oh, I
dropped
gotta
in the mirror,
inspect my car.
candy bars
Okay.
strewn all over the floor. Crime had been committed, and someone was going to pay.
The suspect, a 6-year-old male with an ever-present scab on his left knee, entering to the name of Eric Zaranto, alias Airhead. Suspect is currently in custody of the judge and jury in this case, Mr. and Mrs. Zaranto. The charge?
Hi, kids. Please don't tell the inspectors about all the illegal Funko Pops I have.
Misdeeds aren't exactly
Do
what
remember,
most
if they
people
ask
consider to
about
be
the
a crime.
illegal Funko Pops,
Still,
tell
Toronto
them
case has
no.
most of the ingredients, rules, or laws.
A group of people who have agreed to live by those rules, the citizens.
Person who disobeyed those rules, a criminal.
A victim who wants that person to be punished.
And judge and jury.
All right, they don't like how beat up my truck is, but that's their own
You
problem.
don't have crime until you have a criminal, and you don't have a criminal until someone breaks the law. So let's start there. Remember what laws are. They're not the 10 Commandments handed down with a clap of thunder. They are rules made up by just plain old people.
Some laws are silly. Until recently, it was against the law to kiss a fish in the state of Kentucky.
What's against the law one day may be perfectly fine the next. In the early part of this century, it was illegal for grown-ups to drink any kind of alcohol. Now having a glass of wine or a bottle of beer is as American as apple pie.
There have even been laws that are just plain wrong. 150 years ago, American citizens could own other people. And if you helped a slave escape, you were the criminal.
Ah, King, these laws are the exception. Most laws are good ones. You can't break into my house and steal my stuff. You can't walk up and hit me. You can't drive 120 miles an hour in town. Everyone wants laws to make us and our stuff safe.
That's the most important thing, huh?
Yep.
Okay, if that's all that matters, I can make things safe in a week.
How?
Simple. I'm gonna put every family in an overgrown cage, bulletproof glass and bars across the doors and windows.
How will we get out?
Oh, you won't.
What? Never?
No. You want to be completely safe, don't you?
Well, yes, but, well, it sounds a little strict to me. I mean, it might be nice to let people out of their homes once a week to go to the store or something.
Aha!
No, cage all families.
Yes, you want to be
Get in the cage. It's the only way we can stay safe.
Well, yeah. It'd be nice to have at least a little bit of that stuff in
Yeah, no, this at least has more consideration for the fact that some laws can be bad at least.
Dilemma, that's a good word. It means conundrum.
I like the avant-garde drum jazz.
Goodness, this difficult word detector is a little sensitive today. Dilemma or conundrum is a tough decision. You're inside a movie theater with just enough money for popcorn.
Uh-huh.
But you know, once you start eating popcorn, you're gonna get thirsty.
True.
You don't have enough for a drink, too.
You steal a cup and then you steal from the Coke machine.
To take a little bit of freedom away from the rest of us. We have to decide how much order we need and how much freedom we love.
Yeah, I remember a little while ago when that American boy was whipped with a stick from the country vandalizing a car.
Oh my God! They mentioned the Singapore caning.
Whipping that left marks and everything. Then news stories started showing how clean Singapore is, how little crime they have. People started saying, maybe it works. Maybe that's what we need. But reporters dug a little deeper yet and learned you can even get thrown into jail for having chewing gum. Now what is worse, getting a hunk of gum stuck on your shoe or knowing someone is sitting in jail for chewing gum? Order or freedom?
Anyway, silly, strict, or just plain wrong. As long as
Kids,
there's a
you're
law,
going a little
you can
heavy for
either
me.
Work to change it, or accept the punishment that comes with it.
There. That's the word I was waiting to hear. When I think of crime, I think of punishment and prison.
And you may be interested to learn some judges and prison wardens don't think crime and punishment have all that much to do with one another.
Come on. If you didn't have punishment, people would do all sorts of nasty things.
Would they?
Oh, I see. So that's why you don't walk downtown and hold up a bank.
Yeah, right, King.
No, really. It's just a question. You could use the money, couldn't you?
Everyone can use the money.
wouldn't do it because if they catch you, you're put in jail.
No, that doesn't have anything to do with it. I wouldn't do it because it isn't right.
Well, it's not right to eat your brother's Halloween candy like you're doing right now.
No, but
Well-
that's different.
Okay. So
I avoided
your
a
wrong
crash.
might not be as bad as my wrong.
Right.
Once again, our society agrees with you. Some wrongs are worse than others. Have you ever heard about white-collar crime?
White-collar workers are people who wear ties to work, so white-collar crime must mean criminals in suits.
That's kind of a metaphor for people who cheat and steal without using a weapon. The Government Commission on Crime reported that a few rotten companies, business people, steal a heck of a lot more money and cause more harm than everyday criminals do with a knife or gun. And when they get caught, they don't usually go to jail. And if they do, they stay in long. Why? Because we don't think white-collar crime is as bad as holding up the bank kind.
Well, there are some things everyone agrees is wrong. Crimes everyone goes to jail for.
How about war? We even give medals for it. What about killing people in the electric chair? The Eighth Amendment prohibits unusual punishment. Isn't frying somebody a little cruel?
Come on, death of all
Kids!
bad things.
Let me get this straight. It's wrong for them to kill someone, and because they did it to someone else, we can do it to them? Look, don't feel bashful. Most people feel the way you do. I'm just trying to show you that people have different ideas of right and wrong. Can't
I
rely on
mean,
people to be
I
good.
respect them for
Everyone
going
has
in
different
on,
definitions of what good means.
but this is a little heavy for kids, man.
Prison to others from committing crimes. It's called deterrence. I use it on my brother all the time. If you take my CDs again without
Yeah,
asking,
I'm gonna
that's
listen.
not
This is like
ever
Rage Against the
gonna do
Machine.
again.
Deterrence is one of the reasons we send people to
Kids,
jail.
did you know that
Boys
some of
ice
those that
cream.
work forces are the same that burn crosses?
Yep, that's number
Moon.
one. Throw all
Full
the bad
moon.
people in one place and we won't have to worry about them. Number two,
Punish them.
bingo. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Number three, oh, I'm so sorry you missed Tom. And you were so close. The third reason is the main reason jail was invented in this country. Rehabilitation.
Oh, I knew that one too. About 200 years ago, the Quakers set up the first prison because they thought it was a better idea than the old-fashioned way of whipping people.
This is true, actually.
Hey, we'll lock the bad guy up, and while we have him,
Prisons were the panopticon was considered like an actual really good thing at the
That was a
time.
good idea, all right. But almost everyone connected with legal and prison systems will tell you to forget about rehabilitating someone in prison. You see, there aren't too many job openings in the real world for making license plates.
and instead of making criminals into better people while they're in jail, prisons have a way of making small-time criminals into big-time ones.
I'm not just sending criminals to prison.
What's with this? I'm not complaining, but this is literally prison abolition's line. Like this is literally like what a lot of prison abolition literature is
Those
about.
crimes, only 12 people are arrested. Of those 12 arrested, only 6 are found guilty. Of those 6, less than 2 of them go to jail. You know what that means? That means more than 98 of those people are still out here walking around. The good news is that prison wardens and judges agree that more than half of those could be released without any danger to us or an increase in crime rate. There are some wackos in prison, no question about it, but they're in the minority.
What about the thing of scaring other people out of committing crimes?
5 years in prison isn't the reason your mom doesn't knock over a 7-Eleven. Most people, including your mom, have other reasons for obeying the law. The other ones, well, how smart do you think you have to be to rob a store?
Not very.
Exactly. They're not smart enough to realize they might get caught either. In states where prison sentences have doubled and tripled, crime rates have still gone up.
See?
Most prison officials say prison only does one thing. It punishes.
That sounds okay to millions of Americans who are voting for the 3 strikes law. After a criminal is convicted of a 3rd serious crime, he goes to jail for life. Finally, we're going to put repeat criminals in jail and throw away the key.
It's also going to mean we need to build twice as many prisons as we have now.
It might be worth it.
And some
Will it,
people might
kid?
end up going to jail for life without ever committing a violent crime.
Well, criminals have to be punished, King. I think people care more about protecting themselves than helping criminals.
You're right, they are. But but sending more people to prison still might not be the answer. California has 6 times as many people locked up now than they did 20 years ago, and crime is twice as bad.
Take out a yardstick and measure out an area 5 feet wide by 12 feet long. That's the minimum amount of room a prisoner is supposed to have. Now imagine being locked up in that space for 5 or 10 years. Finally, they take you to the front gate, stick $50 in your pocket. You probably don't have too many skills, but that doesn't matter, because no one wants to hire you anyway after you've been in prison. Heck, you've forgotten how to cross streets in heavy traffic. Somehow, you have to get enough money to sleep and eat. And spent the last 5 years listening to other criminals talk about the tricks of the trade. What do you think the chances are of staying away from crime?
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. This seems like one of those snakes that doesn't have an end.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
I remember one time I was building a fort, and this board just wouldn't go on the way I wanted. After trying it every which way, I finally had to take the board down and cut a new one. Like Michelle said, people care more about protecting themselves than helping criminals, and they should. But maybe, just maybe, we can have our popcorn and a drink at the same time.
Costs $84 a day. That's almost $30,000 a year to keep someone in prison.
Yeesh.
And that doesn't count all the money your mom and dad are gonna have to pay for new prisons. Maybe before anyone even commits a crime, we could spend half that much to send teenagers to college or to train them for a good job.
After kids commit their first crime, maybe we could set up programs so they had to pay back people they hurt or robbed. In one case, a man who had robbed a house had to spend 40 hours doing yard work. At the end of that time, the robber and the victims had actually become friends. That's not going to happen every time, but isn't it worth a try?
We know there are going to
Why
be
are you
some
telling me about restorative justice and Boomerang audio magazine for kids?
But our job here at Boomerang is to give you a chance to learn about stuff you can't anywhere else.
I guess so. I mean, what are you going to do? Hand these kids Angela Davis books? Like, okay.
What we've learned in research, it's going to take some fresh ideas to solve some of these problems. Maybe we'll be the ones with the courage to take down that old board that doesn't fit and find one that does.
And that's the
God
idea.
damn, kids! I wasn't expecting this. Okay.
Do the right thing. The right thing.
Hi, my name is Timothy Brown. I'm 12 years old and I live in Idaho Falls, Idaho. If I was standing with 2 of my friends and
I had to check my phone.
one of my other friends, I would probably try to chase.
Don't worry about it. I had to check my phone.
If they didn't stop, I would tell them to stop or walk away. And if that didn't work, depending on what they were saying, I might want to talk to my friend about it.
My name is Cam. I live in St. Charles. I'm 10 years old, and
I had to check my phone. You can't get mad at me.
When people just do it to me because they're gonna laugh. My name is June Tonkin Lentz. I'm 8 years old, and I'm from Raymond, Ohio. What I would do is I would ask them why they were saying mean things about my friends, and I'd find out who was telling the truth and who was lying to me. I wouldn't be their friend anymore.
Okay.
Jessica with your news update with all the news you missed while you were asleep. Do you want your parents to raise your allowance? A Chicago
Listen, I can play all the Candy Crush I want.
Suggests the following.
Technically, I'm playing. God, they should make a Mad Men mobile game.
Consider your parents' ability to pay. If your mom just lost her job, now is not the time to push for a raise. Get all this stuff on paper and sit down with them. I've just got one question. What happens if they say no? You can't exactly go on strike. Every time there's a plane crash, lots of kids I know get all freaked out about it. Well, consider this, boomers, the next time you go over the Grand Canyon to Grandma's house.
Okay.
Your chances of dying in a car crash are 1 in 125.
That's true.
The chances you'll be killed by a meteorite are 1 in 9,000. The chances you will be killed by a dog are 1 in 700,000. Your chance of dying in a plane crash, 1 in 4.6 million. The moral of this story is,
Fuck
don't worry about
cars.
that plane ride, but the next time you get in the car, put on that seatbelt.
I mean, they're right.
We're on the depressing topic of buying the ranch. Surprise, surprise. Kids who start to smoke overwhelmingly smoke the 3 most heavily advertised cigarette brands. So congratulations, all you cigarette companies. Thanks to your ads, looks like a whole new generation will go to their grave way before their time. Some good news and bad news.
This episode is sassy. I love it.
News, a member of the town school board brought up a motion to ban all homework at the local high school. He thinks homework cuts in on the time families can spend together. He withdrew his motion in the face of overwhelming opposition. The incredible news? Almost 200 junior high kids signed a petition saying they wanted homework in high school because they thought it would affect their study habits later on. Finally, Fiona Campbell left home 11 years ago at the age of 16. She didn't exactly run away from home. She became the first woman to walk around the world. Here's a warning to all of Fiona's friends. If you're trying to think of something to do together, don't ask her to go for a walk just yet. This is
Okay.
Jessica with your news update, saying if you don't like the news, go out and make some of your own.
What do you get when you drop a piano down a mine shaft?
What?
A flat minor.
Why is it bad to write on an empty stomach? Paper's better.
What time is it when 10 lions are chasing you? 10 after 1.
Where do blue eggs come from?
Where?
Side chicken.
How do you get fur from a lion?
Run!
This match won't light.
What's the matter with it?
It just worked a minute ago.
Hi, Bean Cat. Trucking is going interestingly. I've crashed a bunch, and also the Audiomagazine talked about restorative justice and the issues with the California's 3 strikes law. So that was interesting. This is a very strange episode. Lots of death. The people dying a lot. Not me, though. I'm living large and in charge. And we are almost done with Laredo. We're almost at to
I don't
Laredo.
remember being up this early before. If I was, I must have been asleep. Maybe I am asleep.
Look, Toby, sun's coming up.
Gramps pointed to a sliver of light way out on the horizon.
It's gonna be a beauty.
Just the promise of sun warmed me up a bit. It's dead cold. I wanted to snuggle back in under the covers and wake up on the beach in Mexico. There are beaches around here, but when we drove in yesterday, there were several definite hints that this was not Mexico. The village greens with cannons and cannonballs ready to fire, pretty white churches with steeples shooting up through the trees, pastures surrounded by ancient stone walls, big old clapboard houses.
All right,
with
we'll go to the outlet
wooden
mall.
signs posted in front. The John Murphy House, 1803. This is where Mom grew up, New Hampshire. We were here because Gramps insisted on continuing a tradition that goes back to the days when she was a kid. The annual fall foliage trek up Mount Washington. The night before, I had slept in Mom's old bed at the farm. The farm is what my relatives call it. The real name is the Runaway Farm. It's named after a poem about a tiny Morgan horse that seems to have lost its mother. The poem is framed and hanging in the
All right.
As I read along, I shivered to think that one day
Ugh.
my mom might have been standing
All right,
here
folks.
in this very spot.
Laredo discovered.
I whirled around to see Gramps with a
That
can of
almost paid for all the damage I had,
with
so
that
that's
little coat,
good.
Did you? Your mom loved
What,
that
what's
poem.
over in Laredo? What can I get in
Gramps said it
Laredo?
was written by an old New Hampshire boy, Robert Frost.
Okay,
and
that take me through a bunch of cities I haven't been to
during the next
before.
couple
Let's
of days.
go.
But first, I had to wipe that sleepy dust out of my eyes and get my behind into the truck.
The old man in the mountain's waiting, and he doesn't take kindly to strangers arriving after dark.
All right, let's hope I can do this one right.
Now that the sun was up, New Hampshire was really beginning to show its colors. Red, green, yellow, and orange, all blended together into the most beautiful stained glass you could ever imagine.
Okay.
The further we got toward the mountains, the thinner and windier the roads became. By mid-morning, the sky was a brilliant blue, and Gramps and I rolled down the truck windows to feel the fresh mountain air in our faces. We stopped in front of a big red barn painted with the sign, Fresh Apple Cider. We got out, stretched, and walked under the tall barn doors. Morning! The voice came from up in the rafters. I'll be right down. After a bit of shuffling, the sound of work boots came down the stairs with an old man in a flannel jacket and a bright
It's
orange
fine.
hat. Name's Sherm. Here, fresh pressed. He drained some cider from a barrel and handed us each a mug. Where are you folks headed? Mount Washington, Gramps said. And before you could say lickety-split, Sherm had out a trail map and was going off about various climbs to the top. I kept one ear on the conversation and another on the little birds flying in through the rafters, out through the barn door, and back again. Swallows, Sherm said. Suppose they'll be heading south soon. Mind if I come along? To Mount Washington, that is. A man my age has only a few chances left to make it to the summit. Most of my own climbing partners are planted there for good. I figure the little missus will probably be wanting a hand with her pack at the mile marker. He walked over and slung a backpack over his shoulder. See? Had mine waiting by the door. Had a funny feeling in my bones this morning. Gramps loved it. Can't argue with the way the river runs. Toby? I nodded and grinned.
I did it. That was really good. Taking a quick break here to have a sip of soda.
Into a covered bridge. It looked sort of like a long wooden barn, except that it was built over a river.
Delicious.
Couldn't find a nail in it.
Let's go.
The bridge was all fitted together, piece by piece. In the old days, when people drove horses and carriages, they built covered
Okay,
bridges
it didn't pick up the trailer. It's fine.
I was planning on holding my breath all the way through, but then I remembered this was a bridge, not a tunnel. See, Toby? Young folks used to tuck notes into the nooks and crannies of the bridge for their sweethearts to find. Many a year back, I came across one of those notes while passing through to go fishing.
Okay, let's try again. Yeah, you can have a sip of my soda too, kids.
And went back there on the date.
There we go.
Was scribbled. You should have seen that look on that girl when I showed up instead of the feller she was expecting. Paid off though. We were married for 4 to 5 years. Sherm never did stop talking. He told about Ethan Allen, a good old mountain boy who didn't own a shoe till he was 13. He became the first man to guide people up and down the mountain of the Snowy Forehead. That's the Indian name for Mount Washington. He told about the Indians.
Oh, okay, we got lucky there.
Never dared climb them.
Don't worry, kids.
That's where their gods lived.
No. I finished the brown drink. The brown drink's gone. Now I'm drinking strawberry lemon soda. It's very nice.
The old man of the mountain. At first, all I could see was a rock cliff. But after a little coaching, I could see what looked like the side view of a man's face. Gramps said a long time ago, one of the boulders in the man's forehead began to slip down. They had to go up and give him a facelift, putting in irons to hold it up. When we got out of the car, I was raring to go. The trail wasn't too steep, so I started skiffing. After about 10 minutes, I felt like someone had tied barbells to my legs. I asked Gramps why people climb mountains, but Sherm stole the question away. Pace, he said. It's all about finding your own pace.
Okay.
Those were the last words I heard from Sherm for the next 3 hours.
Did he die?
Something happened on the way up the trail that I really couldn't explain.
What?
I felt like all the watching and waiting and looking and what I'd be doing over the last few years since Mom and Dad died sort of fell
More
away.
death!
The further up we went, the lighter I felt. We climbed through dark, mossy sections, flumes of mountain streams roaring in the background, and sunlight seeping through the trees. Every now and then, the trail would meet the water, and we'd climb out on the huge, flat, white rocks and cup our hands for a drink. The air was so clean and sweet. Gramps said it was the smell of the balsam trees. Glorp! The sound of Sherm's voice next to me almost made me jump out of my own skin. After a while, you got so used to the river.
I kind of love this magazine for all the death. I'm kind of into it now. Kids, this magazine will teach you about how everything dies.
Thought we might take a break for a little carboober.
Kids got to get memento mori somehow.
He said that, then we were out of the trees and walking along a gigantic rock slab. We all sat down and ate some gorp. Oh, just in case you're wondering, It's nuts, raisins, and chocolate chips, and stuff all mixed together. The cog! Gramps shouted. Wave, Toby, wave! Up the side of the mountain came an old dinosaur of a train, black as coal and billowing clouds of dark smoke. That's the easy way up to the top, Gramps explained. But somehow, if I had seen that I probably would have never agreed. But Gramps was probably right. Got to the top of the mountain. We toasted with our canteens. Then we wandered over to the weather station, where they measured the most powerful wind ever recorded. 231 miles per hour.
Jesus!
Talk about kite flying weather.
No, you'll die if you do that, kid.
They say you never really know a mountain until you've slept on it. So that night,
Okay.
we stayed in a hut overlooking the Lake of Clouds. We stayed up with some other families and listened to Sherman's stories until everyone's eyes began to drop. We slept in a big room with 3-story bunk beds lined up on the wall.
I know I need to find a fueling
I could
station.
see where the lake got its name. Looking out the window, you could swear you were
Running a little
floating
low
on
on
clouds.
products.
God, I know, my product!
Clouds and a shadow of the lake. We joined everyone for breakfast at a long wooden table. Oatmeal with raisins, the best. No, make that the only oatmeal I've ever eaten. It must be the mountain air. Never really did meet Robert Frost, and that was fine with me once I learned that he was dead. I guess Gramps
Come
meant
on.
we would meet up with the spirit.
There it is!
and that
There it is! We're gonna make it, folks!
in the tales of our new cider-making friend, in the sharp, craggly face of the old man up the mountain, in the hush of the woods, the stubborn farmers who try to make a living even though the soil is full of rocks and the ground is frozen 3/4 of the year. On the way back to the farm, we dropped Sherm off at his house. Same time
Almost.
next year, he announced. We all just looked at each other and nodded. Same time. Gramps and I spelled our names out of license plates all the way back. Below the number on every New Hampshire plate, I noticed this phrase, live free or die. That's New Hampshire, I'll remember. That's it for this issue.
I am not
Boomers.
going to
Stay
Kansas.
tuned. We've got all sorts of great stories coming up.
If you don't receive Boomerang every month and you'd like to subscribe, please call us at 1-800-333-7858.
So take care of each other out there, Boomers.
Ah.
It all comes back.
I turned off the laws. You can have laws happen, but I turned mine off.
Boomerang is brought to you by Books and the rest of your friends at the public library.
I'm just going to switch this here to the next issue. Give me a quick second. This is issue 9. We skipped issue 7 because I'm using issue 7 as intermission stuff. So yeah, I would, if you all are into this, I can definitely keep doing this in other streams where we just listen to Boomerang and drive around Texas because I'm enjoying myself personally. All right, back to the magazine. Oh no, Ben Franklin's there, buddy. I don't know how I survived that. I wish there was a McDonald's I could stop in. Yeah, it's the Purge, but for driving. No rules, just right. Outback Purge house. No, you're in the car. Don't worry. I'm not leaving anyone at the gas station, unlike other times.
Hey, Michelle, how you doing?
Bad.
6.
What's this?
7.
Actually, I wonder if I can pull into the burger place. Dream Burger.
The mind.
You're doing push-ups to keep your mind in shape?
Okay, let's see.
Latest research, Tucker. Hot out of the laboratory. There's more than one way to be smart. Number smart and word smart are only a couple of the ways we buff up our intelligence.
Is that right?
Unfortunately, eating 6 packs of Twinkies isn't one of them.
Nuts. As a matter of fact, I'm on the trail of a prize set of Mickey Mouse ears.
I don't know what I'm getting stuck on.
What about you, Miss Time Warp?
I literally
I'm going
don't
back
know
about
how I'm
80
getting
years,
stuck
Chief,
here.
But it may as well be 800
It won't let me
years.
in, folks. It won't let me into
I'm speaking with Ishi,
Dreamburger.
the last member of a Native American tribe from California.
Yeah, well, I'm doing a story about whales, and Miss Hops is back with a real creepy Greek myth about
Yeah, it's like an
people
invisible
eating
wall.
minnows. So, ladies and gentlemen, start your thinking machines.
My name
What
is
the
Sean
fuck,
Jeffers,
dude? Don't do
and
that
I'm one
to
of the
me. I'm a
Boomerang
bad
kids, Here
driver.
to help you keep up with what's up. We've got stories, songs, kids' views of the news, and some of the wackiest jokes you'll ever hear.
I love the wacky jokes after they're like, here's why the 3 strikes law is awful. Anyways, here's a goof about falling down a well.
Imagine one day thousands of new people coming to your town, taking
No.
over all the open meadows, then the parks, the supermarkets, and even your neighbors' houses. If townspeople fought back, they were killed. Why? Because your people didn't look like them, speak their language, or share their customs. To the invaders, you were beasts, savages. That was the world of Ishi. For 3,000 to 4,000 years, his ancestors lived in the shadow of Mount Lassen, digging for roots, eating clover, collecting acorns, and fishing in creeks for salmon. Then came the 1849 gold rush. A steady stream of prospectors and wagon trains.
Yeah, I
surged
need
through
a
Ishi's
student
country on the
driver, but
Lassen Trail.
sticker, but it says shitty
And
driver.
almost overnight, there were more white men than Native Americans. Shooting Indians quickly came to be considered sport hunting. A bounty of 25 cents was offered for each Indian scalp. By the time Ishi was born 10 years later,
with the
neighboring
wacky
tribes
music?
had been driven from their land, enslaved, or massacred by settlers. Only his tribe, the Yahi, remained. To survive, they hid themselves in the steep cliffs and canyons surrounding Mount Lassen, only venturing out into the flatter grazing lands to raid the settlers' livestock or seek revenge from the whites for the many massacres of their people. The settlers, in turn, tracked the Yahi to their
genocide.
camps, killing every man, woman, and child they could find. By the time Ishi was 12 years old, only 15 Yahi remained.
Jesus.
By the time he was 31, only Ishi, his mother, his sister, and an old man were left alive. A team of engineers accidentally ran into their camp in 1908. His mother was too feeble to walk, so Ishi and his sister covered her up with blankets.
Thank you,
and fled
Mako
in opposite
Tensai, for the raid. I appreciate
Engineers
it.
took all their food, hunting tools, and fur pelts as souvenirs.
Mako Tensei
Left
just
with
rated
nothing,
with 1
Ishi carried
viewers.
his mother to the mountain. He never saw his sister or the old man again.
Yay.
His mother died a few days later. For 3 years, Ishi lived on his own, having contact with no one, until in September of 1911.
Can only pull over to
delirious
give you a
with
shout
hunger,
out.
he stumbled
Hold on,
onto a
I'm
ranch on the
parking.
outskirts of
See?
Oroville. Upon
good.
hearing of the wild man of Oroville, 2 anthropologists, they're scientists who study people, were granted permission to take charge of the Indian. Their names were Krober and Waterman. California Indians seldom said their names aloud, and this last tribesman of the Yahi was no different, so he became known as Ishi, which is Yahi for man. Within days, he was traveling south on the tracks of the white man's demon towards a new life in San Francisco. There was no one else on Earth left to speak Ishi's language, so communication was slow going. Yahi Indians considered it bad luck to tell stories about those who had died, so that made the process of getting information about Ishi's life all the more difficult.
Fair.
But over the months and years ahead, Krober Waterman and a doctor by the name of Pope somehow managed to piece parts of his life, beliefs, and customs together. Little by little, he picked up some of the white men's customs. He put on pants, a shirt, and a hat, but successfully steered clear of shoes for almost a year.
I just
Someone
run
gave
red
him a
lights.
watch, and though he could tell the time of day precisely by the sun, he wore it proudly. It was strange little things that Ishi seemed to enjoy most. Safety pins, not for what they did, but for the way they looked. He was especially fascinated by window shades, the way they seemed to disappear into nothingness. When he was taken to a vaudeville show in a large San Francisco theater, Ishi hardly shot a glance at the stage. Instead, his attention was glued to the audience. Never having seen more than 40 people at one time, he marveled at the sheer number of people crowded into one place. I'm going back in time just over one grandmother ago to 1914 to speak with Ishi, the last Yahi Indian. Ishi has been living here in the Museum of Anthropology for the past 3 years, and between scientists sent to study him, the stream of people that come to gawk at him, and a few newfound friends, he's picked up a little bit of English. But I've been warned he's a little hard to understand at first. Dr. Krober said he would be in the room at the end of the hall. I hope that's him. It's sort of creepy in here with all these bones and stuff. Ishi, are you there? It's me, Josie.
Hi, Juan. We're driving.
Josie, Chief told me you come. How they do? Sit down. I prepare bows, arrows for our trip. We go soon. Chief Koba, Pope, the son of Pope, Waterman, we go to Wowie, my land, the land of my ancestors. At first, I am afraid, I say. That tree, a crazy tree, crazy like fire. But Chief say, he and Waterman won't leave me there. I come back to my new home here.
Yep, we're trucking and listening to Boomerang Audiomagazine, which is very interesting.
I grow old here. I die in my new house. To go back, I go back to the land of the dead. I am afraid. My sister, many other spirits still wander. Is she lost? I no find her after men came.
Oh, nice.
There are lions.
Metal Gear Solid 1's good shit.
Maybe she drowned. It is so. It is so. Since Earth was born, people grow old, they die. People fall off cliffs, they die. People drown, it is so. When they go, we are sad. We burn our hair, we make fire, we put them in it. My sister, no fire. The dead, they see a little at a time. They see in the west, they keep going. They go south, they go through a little hole to the other world. They jump through hole.
This is Ichi, the indigenous guy who's everyone he knows died. They were all massacred, genocided.
But Groba, Waterman say we go. They are my friend. Groba is a chief, a head man, very wise. Waterman too. They want to know. Yahi, my people, they write my words, so my words will not die. They use magic wheels, look, to make my words come again. They come again and again, like my song, there, my home in the canyon.
No. You don't get to. I guess they do get to stop.
It's coming.
That's fine. It's fine. I'm a good driver.
He funny. He wise. He foolish. We learn from Coyote. Other animals do. We watch. We listen. Coyote holding fire. He drop it. He run.
Yeah, working designs patch for Metal Gear Solid.
EC3. Oak tree. Can you help me? Tree say, I burn outside, but I safe inside. Coyote see hole in tree. Coyote dive inside. In go head. Feet stick out. Oh, coyote sleep. Forget feet. Fire come. Burn feet. Ha ha. Coyote wake up. Look out hole. See feet. Burn grasshopper. Eat his own feet. Ha ha ha.
All right.
I see. I go with Chief, Waterman, and Poe. I show friends called Rabbit. There. I show friends called Fish. Fish come. I show friends. Shoot Poe. Pope smoke. We no get. There. I show hope. I tell story. On the star. I live again. See, son, my watch. Time to go. You stay, I go.
Although Ishi had been afraid to return to Yahi country with his new friends, the trip was a big success. For his entire life, he had lived constantly with the fear of being discovered. Careful never to snap a twig, let his fires be seen, or leave a single footprint. During those few weeks, he was finally free to swim in the water, to hunt for food, and sing by fire burning freely under the stars. One such evening, he said he had heard his sister calling him, and disappeared into the darkness. He returned a few days later, happily reporting he had followed her spirit. She was not lost. She had found her way to the other world. Spring of the following year, after battling tuberculosis for several months,
is he gonna die too?
A weakened Ishi said to Pope, his good friend and healer, "You stay, I go." Ishi is best remembered for his gentleness and civility. As Mr. Pope wrote upon his death, and so, stoic and unafraid, departed the last wild Indian of America, he closes a chapter in history.
80 miles per hour, that's fucked up!
Smart but not wise. We knew many things, and much that is false. We knew nature, which is always true. His were the qualities of character that last forever. He was kind, he had courage and self-restraint, and though all had been taken from him, there was no bitterness in his heart. His soul was that of a child.
Oh, thank you for liking my Bucky's hat.
This is Josie Marin.
No one's noticed that yet. I appreciate it. Hey, I lived. I somehow did that turn.
We received from you subscribers about the funny things grown-ups do.
Dear Boomerang, whenever we bring stuff like chocolate chips or cookies or ice cream back from the grocery store, my dad gets all mad and says he doesn't like to have sweets around. But
Well,
then, when
bite your
we wanna
dad.
eat some, there's nothing left. 'Cause
Bite your
he's
dad.
sneaking into the kitchen late at
Fight your
night
dad.
and pigging out on them.
Don't worry, guys. Your dad's just trying to tell you that he doesn't like to be tempted. I mean, how do you like
Oh, I didn't see the beaver nuggets joke. That's good. Yeah, I decided to wear the Bucky's hat because that's what I would wear if I was a trucker.
Jake David in Bakersfield, California.
Dear Boomerang, when I see aunts and uncles I haven't seen in a while, they always say the same thing.
Uh-huh.
Ground. Wouldn't it be a little stranger if I didn't grow?
You bet it would, Jake. You've got to understand that grown-ups try not to think about growing, because after a while, they don't grow up. The only way to grow is out. Finally, here's a letter from Randy Kellenoy in Elyria, Ohio.
Dear Boomerang, my mom sent me down to the basement to get some canned peaches. When I yelled up that they weren't down here, she yelled, "Yes, they are." Keep looking. Finally, she came down the basement, and the peaches were clear on the other wall.
Give your mom a break, Randy. Think of all the times she remembered that your blue shirt was hanging on the swing set outside, or that you left your science book in the back seat of the car.
Fight your mom too. Fight them all.
Feet off the mark isn't all that bad.
That's it for Big Talk, Boomers. Send us your letters about the funny things grown-ups do. And maybe you'll hear yours in the next issue of Boomerang.
So are they going to talk to us about death, cancer, what's next?
There are 752 stories in the town I call home.
Uh-huh.
This is one of them. Don't know too much about atmosphere, except Earth has it, the mall doesn't. And the news depot is men with dirty fingernails, smoking cancer sticks at the counter. Racks of magazines about everything from duck hunting to oversized truck tires. Red plastic ketchup bottles on the tables. Waitresses that call you hun. Grandma music playing on the radio out of a couple of 2-bit speakers. Definitely
Helicopter.
not the kind of place I hang out with my pals. But nights are long and the jobs are hard to come by. The corner booth of the news depot is the only sliding into the scene when a high school kid, plaster down hand.
Yeah, I love the way these tapes skip.
Walked through the door. He was odd-sized suitcase. Monk. I shrugged and he slid into the booth. Waved her off and asked for milk. 2%. He just sat there without saying a word until Madge had delivered the milk and moved back behind the counter. Decker, I've got something to show you. He reached underneath the table and slid his little suitcase up to the top. Bags, dirty underwear, bowling balls. I was prepared for almost anything. Inside the box, mounted on a special platform, were a pair of Mickey Mouse ears. I looked inside the box, then looked back at Lester, then looked back inside the box.
I'm fine.
Yes, sir, Lester. Dynamite ears. Now what can I do for you? My ears were dynamite ears, Mr. Jones. The actions. The guy who calls me Mr. Jones is my gym teacher, and only when he catches me loafing around I kind of figured they weren't your real ears, Lester. They're out of black felt, and mounted on a hat is a dead... Lester didn't appreciate my joke. For your information, Packer, these are reproductions of Mickey Mouse ears. Knockoffs. Fakes. Fact is, I knew all about Mickey Mouse ears. Kids on the old Mickey Mouse show used to wear them.
Yeah.
30-odd years ago, every kid in America had a pair. Sell them at the theme park. But you don't get any older than 4 years old running around in them these days. Lester told me he had some 1959 loaned them to the high school for display. Went to pick them up. They were the wrong ears. See this? He pointed to the name Darlene back of the head. My hat had Cubby's name. On the real ears, names were embroidered into the back of the hat, sewn in with thread. Besides that, my ears were faded a little more, and they had a slight rip in the back. I couldn't figure I was complaining about. Someone swipes a pair of 30-year-old ears and gives him one.
Sepasai, thank you for the 50 bits. Thank you so much. Oh, God.
These real ears, couple of big bills. I'm prepared to pay for their safe. Old Lester, his ears.
Yeah, a few of these Boomerang tapes have weird skips in them, and that's in the original upload. I'm not sure what's up with the whatchamacallit, but I also assume these tapes have been played to death.
All I knew about this case was that Lester Polizzi had a pair of Mickey. The first question that came to mind was, who or another, and why? But it was really the second question that seemed to hold the key. Who would have a hat like this to switch? Despite what Lester Boy had said, this wasn't a Walmart special. These ears were made out of cardboard. Either someone had to make them up by hand, or they were real old. My first stop was the scene of the crime, St. Helens High School. The back door was open, and even though the hallways were dark, it didn't take me long to find the display case in the main lobby. Along with hoop trophies and gridiron gold, there was a display of bubblegum comics. I ran my hand along the edge of the case. It was enclosed all the way around and secured at the top with a single small padlock. Whoever switched Mickey Mouse ears had a key to the display case. This narrowed the list of suspects considerably. Yes, son, can I help you? I jumped about 6 inches in the air. It was only the janitor. Too many Freddy Krueger movies, I guess. I decided to check security.
You can call them
Mr. Johnson.
Nightmare on Elm Street. No one's gonna... Okay.
Display case. And she said, you had the key. That's right. He pulled a set of keys away from his wristband. He said, flipping through them. That one seems to be missing.
Think I can hydroplane?
This was way weird. If Mr. Johnson ripped off the ears, why would he pretend not to have the key? Mr. Johnson, is there anyone else who had access to your keychain? He grinned. Well, son, it's kind of hard to sneak up on old Arthur and take one of his keys. That is, unless you're Darlene. I jerked to attention. Not exactly an everyday name, Darlene. My eyes must have asked the question, because before my mouth could do it, Mr. Johnson offered me an answer with a wink. My wife. But I can't see how she would be interested in borrowing the key to a trophy case of St. Helens High. Neither could I. But this was my only lead, and I had to check it out. Mr. Johnson, it is very important for me to get into that case. Would you mind if I stop by your
Oh, my
house
car already feels a little slippery. Maybe I should slow
Be my
down.
guest, he said, emptying the rest of the wastebaskets into the barrel. 245 Elm Street. 2 big ears in the mailbox. You can't miss it. 2 big ears on the mailbox? Did he really say that? All the way over to Mr. Johnson's house, I kept shaking my head.
And
But as
whoops,
soon
it's
as
a
I saw
detour.
Mickey, a.k.a. Mortimer Mouse's squirrely little eyes on the mailbox, I knew that Darlene Johnson had stolen Lester's hat and replaced it with her own. The very same mouse ears she had worn in the Mickey Mouse show so long ago. An older lady answered the door. Yes, son, what can I do for you? All I could do was stare. You're Darlene? At first the lady seemed confused. Then she broke into a smile. Yes, son, I'm Darlene. Even Mouseketeers grow up. Come in. Inside the house, there were
There's a donut over there.
everywhere. Pictures of Jimmy and Roy and all the old Mouseketeers. On the mantel were a pair of Mickey Mouse ears. Nonchalantly, I walked over to admire them. May I asked, reaching for them. She nodded. Hand-stitched in thread on the side of the hat was the name Cubby. That's just one of the hats they sold in the stores so many years ago. The ones we wore were made out of cardboard and had our names simply hand-painted on it. That's funny, I said. I expected to see your name in this hat. Just for an instant, her face clouded over. Like a true Mouseketeer, she regained her balance. When I was on the show, she explained, I had a crush on little Cubby. I've lost track of him over the years. Still, it's nice to have something with his name on it. I left the Johnson house without Lester's Mickey Mouse ears that afternoon. Of course, I had to kiss the $5.
You can have a donut. Kids, I have a bag of donuts in the back seat. You can all have one.
But why muck things up? In the ocean of life, where waters swirl dark and murky, I was, for the moment, floating on a calm,
And I just cut off a car.
Darlene had the hat to remember her old boyfriend by. Lester had a hat worth 100 times.
These donuts are probably a week old, but that's fine.
But that's what he gets for calling me Mr. Jones. Me, I walked away with Dad's next birthday present. An autographed picture of his favorite Mouseketeer. This is Tucker Jones, and hey, keep your ears open.
Done.
Full power, please. I need power. Power.
Give me full power.
Let's have some power, Captain.
Jesus. Sorry, that guy was not
When
yielding
I was
to me.
4 or 5, I used to help my dad wash the car. Anyway, I used to think I was helping my dad wash the car. You know, mushing the sponge around and getting lots of water and suds everywhere. But I couldn't help but notice that Dad always seemed to do what I did over again. Last summer it was hot and I was bored, and Mom said maybe I could go wash the car. I think she kind of just wanted me to get out of her hair, but I had something else in mind. I put some soap in a bucket and filled it up with hot water. Then I got the hose and sponge and went to work. For the top and anywhere else I couldn't reach, I stood on a chair, tied the sponge to a broom, and washed it that way. I rinsed the car all off and dried it. It took about an hour, and when Mom came out and saw what I had done, she gave me a real long, weird look. And best of all, Dad didn't do it over again.
Good job dousing the car in hot water, kid.
I wonder, Wales, what made you move into the sea? 15 million years ago, your ancestors were just a big bunch of palookas lumbering around on land. Then suddenly they head for the beach. Now that's a real change of address. I mean,
I respect
I've heard of
whales for
animals
going
moving
back
up
into the
mountains
ocean, by
or
the way.
something, but you've got to grow some
I'd
new
probably do the
equipment to
same
slip
if I
into the
could.
sea. Maybe they were looking for food. Strange stuff happens up here on land. We all know that. And from time to time, there may have not been enough food for everyone. Maybe one day your great-great-a-zillion times great-grandmother went into the ocean for a dip and said, "Whoa, so this is where they're hiding all the grub." Let's face it, you don't grow up to be 30, 50, 150 tons without a pretty healthy appetite. No, sir. Steer clear of the bathroom scales and chow down. Speaking of which, I wonder.
Yeah, big
where do
bunch of
humans get these
palookas.
twin figures anyway?
That's
can
what I
hardly
call
even weigh my black
proto-mammals.
lab. How do you coax an animal the size of 50 elephants onto a scale? And who's got a scale that big anyway? And whales don't even eat year-round. Gray whales vacation off the Mexican Baja, where they lie around for 8 months in shallow lagoons, taking it easy and resting up for the annual 7,000-mile trip up along the Pacific coast to the Arctic Ocean. Up north, they make up for it, though, gorging themselves every day on tons of benthic gammarid amphipods. I think I'd rather be a shrimp-eating species instead. Now, everyone knows the reputation big guys have. Big on brawn, thin on thinking muscles. But it just so happens that whales own a monster-sized brain to go along with everything else.
That's right.
Some scientists consider them to be the most intelligent animal on the Earth. Of course, measuring a whale's intelligence isn't any easier than measuring their weight. But people point to a bunch of behaviors that suggest they're pretty smart. First of all, they pal around together for reasons other than mating.
That's true.
And they don't just hang around together, they look out for each other.
That's true.
There are all sorts of stories of whales nudging injured buddies to the surface to breathe. Whales have even been known to have babysitters. Mom
That's
leaves
true.
Junior with a friend while she goes off to feed. For such big animals, they have incredible control. I saw a video of whales coming up underneath a tiny rubber boat full of researchers to have their backs scratched. When Fido wants to scratch, he takes a couple of tables with him. And believe me, with one flip of their tail, they could have smashed the boat to pieces. But these whales maneuvered around as gently as can be.
I'm not stopping. I don't got time.
Intelligence, though, is the way they communicate. Have you ever
Yeah, I'm
heard of
always nudging my
Domino, the
injured
captive
buddies.
killer whale? Well, a 5th grade teacher would be proud. It not only communicates with humans, it can abbreviate, punctuate, hyphenate. Pronunciation is a little raw still, but come on, you try talking whale. And the songs of humpback whales, like we're hearing now, have really stumped scientists. Divers swimming with singing whales say it's like standing next to a stereo speaker 20 feet high turned on full blast. They can not only hear the song, but they can feel it. They don't sing while eating up north, but as they return south, they start up songs lasting minutes at a time. Then the pattern is repeated.
Yeah, it's a very flat place, Texas.
Change over the season, but next year they will start up with the same song they finished with. I wonder if they're singing the top 10 from deep down. There are lots of different kinds of whales, but they're mainly divided into 2 groups. Those with teeth, like killer whales and sperm whales, and those without, called baleen whales. Baleen whales, like the blue whale, the biggest animal that has ever lived on the earth, have a bunch of tiny plates with stringy bristles that strain their food. They open their mouths, put their flukes into overdrive, and suck up everything in front of them. About those
I do that.
blowholes, for anyone counting, toothed whales have 1, baleen have 2. Second of all, that's not really water shooting out of there. It's misty air being exhaled after a dive. Remember, whales may look and live like fish, but they're not. They're mammals. Warm-blooded animals who have to breathe. The blowhole allows them to do that without interfering with more important matters like eating. Most whales can easily hold their breath for a few minutes. But some whales, like the sperm whale, have been tracked down to a depth of 1.5 miles in dives lasting longer than an hour. It's no wonder that the first big blast after surfacing looks like a geyser. Travel all the way up the Arctic Ocean, you're going to need some long underwear. Whales have 6 inches of fat called blubber that keeps them nice and toasty. Unfortunately for the whale, blubber isn't the only thing they wear. They also have barnacles.
That was a sick,
that attach themselves to the
that was
outer layer
sick.
of the
It shouldn't be
whale's skin.
muted.
As you can imagine, it's a little uncomfortable to have a bunch of crustaceans stuck on your back. Whenever they have a chance, they rub up against ships and other whales to get them off.
That's really
In the
okay.
19th
Jack can hear me.
Whaling boats killed hundreds of thousands of whales, mainly for oil from their blubber. In the beginning, it was a pretty even match. Men throwing harpoons from tiny wooden boats. More adventurous types actually jumped onto the back of the whale.
Yeah, I was
and tried to stick
drifting.
a plug into his blowhole. I think I would bet on the whale in that one. But humans have always been pretty good at making things lopsided.
You know, if we
Pretty
see
soon
an
they were using
Arby's, we'll
harpoons with
stop.
Explosive charges shot out from guns. The whales were pulled onto huge ships where the blubber was stripped off and processed right on board.
No worries. I haven't been
after the
talking a lot in
beginning of
this
the
stream,
20th
so I could see why you would think it
whale
was muted.
populations were in
Because
big
I'm being
trouble.
very quiet this
Today, the
stream.
United States no longer allows whale hunting, but Japan and Russia do.
Oh, it was your headphones. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. No worries.
What's it going to be like when you send
Tamaya, 68K, thanks for following. And I almost crashed. I'm good. Oh, yeah, no worries.
This is Jessica with another natural wonder.
Oh, look at me go, man. I might actually get there before the tape finishes, which would be cool.
Hey there, groovy guys and groovy gals. This is Devin the Duff talking to you on Smile on Your Dial. Boom Radio. Strike 1, baseball. Strike 2, hockey.
Oh, strikes!
Strikes, boomers, there's only one thing to do. Shorten up your stroke and make contact. So all you owners and agents and players, watch out. At the request of millions and billions of players, I'm looking to put a little wood on you. Boom Radio.
Welcome. I'm glad you could find my stream.
First,
I'm streaming.
For our listeners. As you may or may not know, a strike is when people stop working. Their bosses aren't paying them enough money. Of course, once people stop working, they don't get paid anything. That's really kind of a drag. So workers usually only strike when things are really rotten, and they've tried everything else possible to make things work. If that were the case, I'd keep my nosy little snout out of the matter. But that is not the case.
Okay, kid.
So, bending over backwards to be fair and objective, I would like to summarize the situation. Are you ready? They're all nuts. First, to all you owners. Hey, I know owning a sports team is about business, and that means you have to make more than you spend. But if you've got 75 million smackers, and you want to use it to buy a sports team, it's simple. You already have way too much money.
I'm with him.
As for you athletes, look, I know you work hard to make it to the top, and I know you only have 5, maybe 10 years to be at the peak of your game. But in case you were on the speakerphone with your lawyer, let me run that phrase by you one more time. Too much. Of course, some people understand you. They say you can't blame the stars for going out and getting as much money as they can. And the rest of you only make a few $100,000 a year. Well, that is an incorrect usage of the word only. And yes, I can too blame the stars. When a 22-year-old basketball player wants to get paid $100 million for dropping a rubber ball through a hoop, we've got a problem here, folks. And
calm down, kid.
To play until he gets it.
Go on to sports radio or some shit.
Remember, the owners and players aren't just moaning and groaning to each other. They're refusing to do their jobs. Yeah, I know, it's easy to complain. But the hard part is coming up with a solution. Well, I've got one, Boomer. Let them strike. Let them sit on their hands and yak about money until the cows come home. Meanwhile, you know what we're going to be doing?
What?
We're going to pick up our baseball gloves, hockey sticks, and go out and
Anybody want to go to Shoptown?
The time we used to spend watching TV games spent playing instead, we're going to be pretty good. Kids who aren't even born yet will be born, and they will crowd the playgrounds and ice rinks to see us play. Then business kids like Freddie will trade in their lemonade and sandwich stands for vacant lots and charge those kids who were born about 2 sentences ago 50 cents to get into these games, and pay you and me enough to keep our pockets full of bubblegum. The result, little kids will be happy again, and they will have athletes to watch. The ex-sandwich stand owners will be happy
I'm in
because
Lubbock,
they will sell
woo!
lemonade and sandwiches to people watching the sports. And sports players will be happy and healthy. Meanwhile, back at the bargaining table, look here, son. If I told you once, I told you 1,000 times. We're broke.
Like I told you 1,000,000 times, a guy can't feed a family on $500,000.
This is Devin the Duck talking to you on Smile on Your Dial. Boom Radio.
And there is a place for gas that I should have gotten off on. That's fine. That's fine.
What's the big idea?
What is the big idea?
You hear somebody say, "Wow, is Sally smart?" Usually means that Sally can read a book in 2 hours and can tell you what 36 times 3 is in her head.
Yeah.
Well, Sally probably is number smart and word smart. But what about people smart? If 2 friends are bickering, Can she get them to work things out together?
No.
Is she body smart? Can she swim, bicycle, and run like a champ?
In American society, we think of smart kids as bookworms. But intelligence is much more than that. It's the ability to do well in everyday life, to learn from experience, to be able to take the curveballs that life throws you and knock them out of the park. If you're lost in the woods, who's the smart one? Someone who can explain the theory of relativity, or a person who knows how to stay warm and has a good sense of direction?
My name is Michelle Tom.
And I'm the king of complicated stuff.
Scientists have always said that there is more than one kind of intelligence, but Howard Gardner was the first one with the research to back it up. He believes humans have 7 different kinds of intelligence.
Okay.
We all have a little bit of them all, and some of us are very smart in 1 or 2 of the areas. The true genius, he believes, is the person who excels in all of them.
I have a friend who I disagree with every once in a while, and even though I'm right, he can somehow convince me that he's the one who's right. It's like he performs magic tricks with words.
It sounds like he is word smart. He knows how to make words really mean something. Those guys who call your parents up on the telephone and try to sell them a new roof for their house are usually word smart too. So are radio disc jockeys. In the old days, before TV, politicians had to be word smart because the only way people got to hear about them was through speeches.
These days, a smile, $15 million, and a good advertising agency seems to matter more.
Damn, kid, you're already cynical about politics?
And still not be very good at giving speeches. These people are better at putting their words down on paper. Writers still need a good ear. To write good stuff, they need to know exactly how people talk. They need to listen for fun-sounding words and phrases.
Of all the different kinds of intelligence we'll talk about in this story, being word smart may be one of the most important because we use that part of our brain so often. We use it when we're trying to convince our parents to let us go on an overnight. We use it when we need to do some research on fixing bikes. If you've ever heard someone make a funny story very unfunny, you know that it even helps to be word smart when you tell jokes.
To get to the other side, get it? You see, this chicken had to cross the road.
You know how much fun it is to huddle away on the sofa with a book. It's like chomping into a nice big sandwich when you're really hungry.
A man named William
I want a nice
Gass
big
once
sandwich.
Said, "Every page is a pasture, and we are let out to graze like a hungry herd."
Cool cow.
The sad thing is, over 20 million adults can't read a restaurant menu or street sign, and another 40 million have only a 4th grade reading level.
Some of these people have simply never been taught to read. Others have a condition called dyslexia, which makes letters look upside down or reversed. Like all areas of intelligence, there are things both groups of people can do to improve their skills.
Another kind of intelligence is being picture smart. Now, having good eyesight is pretty important to being picture smart. One German girl sure had that. She could identify people standing a mile away.
Whoa!
And an astronaut was able to pick out houses 100 miles above the Earth. But being picture
Folks,
smart
we
is
made
more
it.
about seeing what we look at.
You say what?
Come on outside, and I'll show you what I mean.
Oh, I am not parking
Here,
this myself.
what is this?
Oh, okay.
Some kind of animal track.
Not bad, King. Now, what if I told
Alright,
you that
we went from Laredo to Lubbock.
Kalahari look at a track and tell you it's an antelope?
And
we
we're
can
at
tell
level
you how
10. We're a
big the
workhorse.
antelope is. Whether it's a boy or a girl, even what mood it is in.
Alright, I'm going to put this into
No,
fuel
I think
economy,
my mom
baby.
has that. When I walk in the door, she can look at my face and
Okay,
tell
let's
exactly
see what
where
jobs
I've been
are
and
around
what I've been
here.
doing.
Actually, that's a little bit different.
Let me
Just
take a
recently,
short
scientists
job
discovered
since,
an almond-sized structure hidden deep within the human brain that reads facial expressions. If you screw that part up, you can still see all right, and you can still recognize a person. But if you see someone wrinkling their nose,
That
in
is too
disgust,
far.
You don't recognize that something is wrong. If you see them smiling, you don't realize they're happy.
Artists are picture smart in another way.
Okay,
They have a
let's go to
sense of
San
what makes
Angelo.
certain
That
shapes and
seems
colors look beautiful.
any more shorter?
Then there are people with photographic
Shorter.
memories. They look at something and their mind takes a mental picture of it. Then hours later, they can describe it exactly. One teenager
I want a
reported
short
that during
distance.
the chemistry test, he mentally opened his chemistry book, turned to a certain page with all the answers, and copied them down.
That's cheating.
Okay,
Not when
that's
you're
where we're
copying
going.
from your own brain.
They say that the man who invented the fluorescent light bulb could imagine the inner workings of inventions perfectly in his mind. And get this, He would test the machines by letting them run in his mind and then checking them for wear and tear.
Awesome.
Once again, these kinds of people are a little unusual, but car mechanics who are picture smart can imagine the inner workings of an engine to figure out what might be wrong. An architect needs picture smartness to imagine how her building is going to look.
Okay, intelligence number 3. Music.
That's a whole separate intelligence?
Surprising, isn't it? Especially since some schools don't have music education at all anymore. But music means a lot to people.
Yeah,
When I hum this, what do you think of?
Purchased the Texas pack, which is why I wanted to stream it.
Exactly. Commercials on radio and TV can communicate smell, taste, or feeling without any words at all. And some people are really music.
I'm fine.
I have a friend who remembers telephone numbers.
We're
with
good.
a tone on a touch
We're good.
phone.
We're good. Don't worry
You can
about
hear
it.
Just like a song.
What's weird about these intelligences is that words take on new meanings. When you talked about what picture smart people see, you were talking about what their brain sees more than their eyes. And
I'm
music
fine.
smart people can hear music when there's really no music to hear.
Beethoven could hear different instruments playing different melody lines of his symphonies all at once.
Lucky for him too, because it's not like they had any records or anything.
Hey, good point. Maybe that's why composers back then seemed to be such geniuses. Unless composers happened to have an orchestra in their rooms, they needed to hear it in their head.
You know, I don't think I'm all that musically smart. I can hardly
Me
carry a
either.
tune. But music is important to me. When I have to clean my room, I pop a tape into my machine and blast it out. Gives
Same.
me energy, I think.
I love blasting out tapes.
I know what you mean, and I'm the opposite way too. Sometimes when I feel real lousy, it feels good to put on a nice, slow, sad song. It's almost like having a friend to feel blue with. It gets it out of my system.
Now for intelligence number 4. When you see one of those big football players on TV, you know, 6'4", 250 pounds, what's the first word that comes to mind? Exactly. People assume athletes are going to be dumb. But there's nothing that says an athletic body has to have a mind the size of a chipmunk's. In fact, in the old Greek days, a trained body was part of having a fit mind.
During the first 2 years of a child's life, almost all of their thinking takes place through their bodies. They wiggle and shake things and bounce and turn.
There's a
and
gas
twist and
station,
touch.
but they don't have
It
a
isn't
place for
until they
me.
get older that they can
I'm so
imagine
sad.
what a peach tastes like, or remember what it feels like to pet a dog.
A British educator noticed that during tests, some kids' bodies seemed tight. They all cramped up. When he showed them how to loosen up and even out their breathing patterns, answers seemed to pop right into some of their heads.
Old people who get regular exercise have better memories. Lots of people who jog say they can come up with bright ideas when they're running.
How am I going to get gas?
After imagining their antibodies doing battle with their bad cancer cells.
Intelligence number 5. Logic and mathematics.
It's easy enough for us to understand what this intelligence is all about. After all, people who can multiply big numbers in their heads are the kind of people we've always thought of as brainy. But people who are really number smart say that they don't solve the problems with all sorts of numbers and diagrams. They say the answers just kind of come to them.
Aw, man, that hurts. Sometimes when I'm trying to solve a math problem, no matter how hard I try, I feel like I'm trying to shove a round peg into a square hole.
Thank you.
Now you know what I feel like when I try to play tennis. I feel like the racket and the ball are allergic to one another. But remember, just as I can take tennis lessons, you can learn shortcuts to problem solving.
In a book called How to Solve It, the author suggests working on a problem kind of like one you're having trouble with, or trying to think up a solution and then working backwards.
In the old days, before calculators, math was about correct answers, numbers. Now that we have calculators in our wristwatches, on our computers, and in our desks at school, the way we solve problems is more important than the answers themselves.
Lots of everyday
Running
problems, for
red
example,
light,
don't need
it's
exact
okay.
answers.
I
Only ones that are
deserve
close.
it. It's a little
Let's say
treat.
you're building a doghouse. You don't need to know exactly the number of nails to get. You just figure, let's see, 20 boards, let's say 150 nails.
Then you don't have to count out 150 nails. You estimate again. Count out 25 into a pile, and get 6 more piles about the same size.
Intelligence number 6 is being people smart.
Wait, don't even tell me. I know what that's all about. Christmas Day. The presents are all unwrapped. The kids are getting
Okay,
hungry,
there's
the
going to be
grown-ups
a
are hungry,
gas
everyone's
station
just
at the
a
next
little mess.
off-ramp, it looks like.
My mom can keep the situation from turning into a disaster by making everyone feel okay.
You've got it. If you're people smart, you can get people to do almost anything. Tom
Okay, this
Sawyer
is
was
going to be
people
really
smart,
difficult, but I
and
think
he
I can
acted
do
as if it were
this.
fun to paint the fence, and even made people pay him to try it. You know Mother Teresa? She is this incredible tiny woman who has spent almost her whole life helping the poor and
Okay,
sick.
I got
She
this.
went to the office of some company, told her story to the president, asked for money, and then knelt down with him on the floor to pray. After she was through, the guy said he would like to help but couldn't. Then Mother Teresa started all over again. The story, the request, and the prayer. Again the guy said no, and she started over again. She did that 2 more times until the businessman finally said yes. He said later he
I
would
can't
have
go that
thrown most
way.
people out of his office, but Mother Teresa was so sincere and so gentle that he just gave in.
Part of being people smart is making people like you. A lot of politicians try that, and a couple are even good at it. One person who knew President Johnson said he always agreed with you. In fact, he would figure out ahead of time what you were going to say and get there first.
Some folks I know are people dumb, bullies. They want you to do something, but instead of being nice to you and making you want to do it, try to force it on you.
Now, intelligence number 7. This is a weird one, boomers. It's being self-smart.
Finally, an area where I can feel like a genius.
You would think that knowing yourself would be about the easiest thing in the world, but most people spend more time planning a vacation than they do their own life. There are people who are brainy in math and reading who are the unhappiest people in the world, simply because they don't bother to find out what it is they really want out of life.
People who are self-smart
we
are
made
the
it to a
kinds
gas
of people
stop.
who can stay calm in a jam. People
Gas
who don't
station,
get
I mean.
upset when others try to make them feel badly. People who can be alone without being lonely. There are people like Benjamin Franklin who sat down when he was a teenager and wrote down a list of areas in his life he wanted to improve.
In the next big idea, we are going to take a look at artificial intelligence, the mind, the brain, and so-called intelligence tests. In the meantime, remember, the whole idea about this 7 intelligences theory is to realize that we are all better at some things than others, to realize that we can improve in areas where we're not so good, and to look for areas in which people are good instead of in areas which they are not.
A long time ago, there was a man who often made simple arithmetic mistakes. His spelling was terrible and his speech was tortured and broken. You may have heard of him. He was a gifted musician, architect, philosopher, engineer, astronomer, and artist named Leonardo da Vinci.
And that's the big idea.
It's fine. We're just going to go over the sidewalk. Yeah, they love mentioning Ben Franklin. Old Benny F.
There's something I've always liked about the sound of popcorn popping.
Really?
The only
Not
time
me.
we ever seem to make it is when we get a video or there's something good on TV.
Actually, I like the sound of popcorn popping.
At first, the pops just happen without you knowing when. Then they start blasting off like a string of firecrackers. Even the kernels themselves sound excited.
Yeah, I do love the use of Boomer.
Hi there, Boomers. This is Jessica with
Hi,
everything
Jessica.
that happened while you were asleep.
Okay.
Ted Nugent, a big-time rock and roll star, was excited to hear about a rare albino buffalo born in captivity. Ted offered to buy the white baby bison and set it free on his 1,200-acre ranch. The owner, however, said no dice, and it might be a good thing. For the buffalo, anyway. When Ted, the well-known hunter, was asked if he could ever shoot such a beautiful animal, Ted said, "Sure, could you imagine coming upon this amazing creature on the open range? It would be a magical confrontation." Right, Ted, pure magic. One animal with a cannon and one without.
I'm with you, kid. Don't shoot the rare white buffalo, child.
This just in from the Journal of the American Medical Association.
Okay, what's up?
Surgeons are more likely to do a better job operating on people when they're listening to music. They
Okay.
had lowered blood pressure and performed better on mental exercises while listening to some tunes. It will probably only be a matter of time before music hits the operating rooms. So the question is, what kind of music? A cardiovascular surgeon from Loyola University so there's no question about it. It has to be classical music. But an oral surgeon at University of Chicago would prefer Pink Floyd and Peter Gabriel. I can see it now. Patients will choose a surgeon by the kind of music they listen to. Smashing Pumpkins is okay, but please, no Metallica. At the 1994 National Yo-Yo Championships in Chico, California,
Chico, it's called Chico.
was crowned king of the yo-yo after scoring 190 out of 200 possible points. Kid stuff? Try again. Bill is 54 years old, and 72-year-old Lou Newmeyer sets a new world record by doing 277 consecutive loop-de-loops. Newmeyer said the last time he used a yo-yo was almost 60 years ago, until his grandkids got him going again. There are not one, not two, but 3 books out this year to celebrate Barbie's 25th birthday.
Jesus.
That's right, Barbie, the 2-centimeter waist Barbie. One book, Forever Barbie, blames her for eating disorders. Another, Dream Doll, tells about her work with breast cancer patients. And in The Art of Barbie, famous designers dress Barbie and famous hairdressers do her hair. It sounds like there are a few people out there with a little extra time on their hands. Finally, Mother Nature and plastic duckies are pitching in to further the study of science. You see, 3 years ago, a container washed overboard from a ship carrying cargo from Hong Kong to Washington State. Inside the container were 29,000 plastic bathtub toys. About 10 months later, blue turtles, green frogs, and yellow duckies began washing up along the beaches of Alaska, giving scientists an opportunity to learn how ocean currents work. 2 years earlier, 61,000 sneakers washed overboard in the same area. But as one scientist said, we've never had anything like the ducks. So be on alert, boomers. If any green plastic frogs pop up in your toilet, contact the nearest oceanographer. This is Jessica with your news update. What do you get when you cross a gorilla and a parrot?
I don't know, but when he asks for a cracker, give it to him.
What did the porcupine say to the cactus plant? Is that you, Mama?
What did the dirt say to the rain?
Because of you, my name's Mud. Where does this ship go?
To the dock.
If a plane crashes on the border between the United States and Canada, where do you bury the survivors? You don't bury the survivors. They're still alive.
A mother boarding a plane with her daughter said to the pilot, "Now don't start going faster than sound. We want to talk."
Dot. Don't worry about the trailer damage. We're good. Are we all laughing uproariously? Yeah?
Hey ho, Hobbs. I'm here with your sandwich.
Hey ho, Hogs.
How nice of you to come by.
Extra rhubarb in the corners, just the way you like it.
Ew.
Hobbs, do you have any books on building?
Oh, I think we can find one under the dust here someplace. Are you working on an addition to your sandwich stand?
No, an animal house.
Ooh, that sounds like fun. What kind of animal? Tiger? Giraffe? Minotaur?
Just a dog. What was that last one, though?
Minotaur. Half bull, half man.
Whoa, they really have those?
Yeah, they're real.
Rhinos did. In
Don't worry
Greek
about
mythology, he was the powerful ruler of ancient Crete. And he had one for a son. Now, don't ask me how that happened. Let's just say that having a son with the head of a bull was not something you wanted to try to explain to your neighbors. Not only was it a little embarrassing, but keeping a minotaur was quite a responsibility because it ate human flesh.
Oh my gosh, Hobbs.
Still, the beast was his son. Minos needed a special enclosure for the minotaur which would keep it secure without making it feel like a prisoner. So, he built a labyrinth.
Oh, labyrinth. Isn't that like a maze?
Exactly. It's a series of confusing paths and corridors which seem to go nowhere. Minos hired a famous architect named Daedalus to build the labyrinth.
Oh, the Daedalus encounter.
Daedalus was known the world over for the things he made. He invented the axe and the bevel. He built statues so lifelike that they appeared to breathe. And his incredible labyrinth quickly became one of the wonders of the world. About this time, another son of Minos, without the horns, was killed on a hunting expedition while visiting the king of Athens. First the Minotaur, now this! Oh, Minos absolutely came unglued. His armies invaded Athens, and he agreed not to torch the town on one condition only. Every 9 years, Athens must send him 7 girls and 7 boys to feed you-know-who.
Oh man, I'd hate to be one of them.
Oh, I know how courageous you are, Fred. You would ask to be chosen so that you might go in there and slay the bull.
No way, Hobbs.
Well, back in Athens, a young fella named Theseus did just that. Theseus was the kind of guy who lived for excitement, who was positively bored unless he was toying with death. He had just completed a dangerous road trip across Greece, wiping out all of the wayside murderers and bandits along the way. Now he figured, what better way to top off his vacation than to volunteer to be put into the labyrinth with the Minotaur? So Theseus and the rest of the Minotaur food was shipped off to Crete. As King Minos paraded the 14 boys and girls past the townspeople toward the labyrinth, Ariadne, Minos's daughter, caught a glimpse of Theseus and went absolutely bananas. Ariadne got word to him that she knew the secret of the labyrinth. If she shared it with him, would he take her away from Crete and marry her? Theseus thought about this for at least 2 or 3 seconds and said, sure. Now, the only person in the world who really knew the secret of the maze was the man who built it.
Yeah, the rest are going to die. They're not going to be saved. Don't worry about them.
When Ariadne told him of her plan to help Theseus, he took a deep breath. Oh, you see, Daedalus was living the good life now. Minos had paid him well for his work on the labyrinth. He had married a beautiful Cretan woman and had a wonderful young son named Icarus, whom he adored.
Hey, Icarus!
But Daedalus had grown up in Athens and didn't like the idea of children from his birthplace getting fed to the bull man. He was certain to be blamed by Minos, but he could not ignore the plight of these innocent children. He suggested that Theseus tie some thread to the door of the labyrinth and unravel it as he went. That way, if he was somehow able to kill the beast, he would be able to find his way back. Well, this was the only encouragement Theseus needed. Laying thread behind him as he went, he charged through the miles of labyrinth pathways until he encountered the beast. Like a matador at a bullfight, Theseus ducked the charges of the Minotaur, each time delivering a mighty blow to its chest with his clenched fists. After many passes, the beast finally collapsed in a lifeless heap.
More death, folks!
Theseus retreated back to the main door, where Ariadne was waiting, and together with the other boys and girls, the 14, they zipped off to a waiting ship. When Minos discovered what had happened, he was a little ticked off. Not so much that the beast was dead. I mean, hey, now he could just go out and get some goldfish like everyone else. No, he was angry that Theseus had stolen Ariadne away. He knew there was only one person cunning enough to pull this caper off, so he imprisoned Daedalus and his young son Icarus in a prison tower high above the sea. I hope you take better care of your son than you did mine, he roared. Daedalus had prepared himself for prison, but he was heartbroken to have his beloved son as well, condemned to spend the rest of his days in a tiny tower cell. Day in, day out, there was little to do but stare out the window at seagulls swooping above the sea. But Daedalus was a very clever man, and one morning
Honking my horn
it was that very
to make him go
sight
faster.
that inspired him to escape. Of course, he cried. Minos has imprisoned us by land and by sea, but the air, the sky, they remain free. With crumbs he secreted away from their meager food ration, he lured birds.
And I'm running. No. We lived. We lived.
Feathers.
We lived.
Each day, he repeated the process, concealing a growing pile of feathers beneath his bed. Meanwhile, using
anybody want to go to
fashioned from a
Patriots
chicken bone
Military
and
Antiques, the
thread
pawn
from his
shop?
own shirt, he began sewing them together. Larger feathers overlapping smaller
Anyone want some
ones.
premium quality
He used
product?
candle wax to fasten the ends.
Want to go to Crazy
Finally,
Cow?
The 2 sets of wings were complete. With straps made from the leather of his sandals, he slipped the wings over their arms.
Thank you. I was hoping
Icarus
someone would do
flapped his
that.
arms excitedly and skipped toward the window.
Here's an error.
No, my son.
They don't
Daedalus
have these
barked,
kind of
pulling him
signs
back.
in Texas.
Our
I've never
bodies are
seen.
larger and heavier
That's
than
European to me.
We
you
must
know?
first make our arms
Never
strong
mind.
for the journey.
Oh, there's a
For
jazz
weeks they
club.
practiced, pumping their arms up and
Why
down
does that
until they
jazz
were
club
strong
look like
and
a
heavily
bookstore?
muscled. Finally,
Never
the
mind.
time had come. At first
Let's go.
light, Daedalus and Icarus slipped on their wings. They climbed up to the windowsill, and Daedalus looked Icarus squarely in the eye. Remember, son.
Yeah, we don't have the green
do
crosses
not
in
fly too
U.S.
close to
a
the
lot
sea,
or
or
ever.
water will soak the feathers. Do not fly too high, or the sun will melt the wax.
Okay.
Icarus and then his father leapt into the air. They plummeted 10 or 20 feet before the air currents pulled them upwards into the purple Cretan sky. A huge smile swept over the face of Icarus. "I can fly, father!" he cried. Indeed, Daedalus and Icarus were now gliding among the gannets.
True, it is a
they
crime to
had
put
so
red
long
crosses in the
admired
game.
from the tower.
Most American pharmacies don't
Released
really
from
have
prison,
crosses.
along with the
I don't
incredible
remember.
freedom of flight,
It's been a while
seemed
since.
to overcome
I get my
Icarus.
meds at HEB,
Beating his
so,
wings
you know.
furiously, he quickly rose above the birds, then above the clouds. His father cried out for him, but Icarus spiraled higher and higher, hearing only songs of the wind. Or was it the sighing of the gods? With little warning, wax began dripping down his arms. For one agonizing moment, he froze. Then, feathers dropping away from his wings, he tumbled downwards into the sea.
I gotta overtake this truck.
Daedalus dipped down dangerously close to the water in a frantic search for his son, but all that could be seen was a pattern of loose feathers floating aimlessly among the waves. Sobbing, Daedalus continued his flight to the island of Sicily, where he lived to old age.
What about Minos?
Oh, he came after Daedalus, but that's another story. Now, let me see. Dog houses, huh? Dog houses?
I'll pick it up later, Hobbs. I just remembered something my dad told me to do.
That's it for this issue, Boomers, but stay tuned. Next issue, we have another story from Dave Schmade.
So take care of each other out there, Boomers, and remember, it all comes back.
My honking worked. All right, let me get on the freeway, and then we're going to stop because that's all of Boomerang that I have. So, oh, it's going to repeat. Hold on. Let's just pull off over here. Yeah, here's
Boomerang
good.
is brought to you by Books and the rest of your friends at the public library.
All right, and that was 3 issues of Boomerang, folks. Folks, can I call you folks? Yeah. We're going to quit for now. Ooh, but that was 3 issues of Boomerang, the audio magazine for kids. I hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed quite a bit. Let's see here. So tomorrow I'm streaming with the Retro Pals. So if you don't follow us there, do consider it. We're going to be playing games with Mr. in the title, so that's going to be interesting. And I'm going to be streaming next week. I'm streaming storybook games. I have to get them all working, but that's what I've kind of got planned. So if not, we'll do something else. But yeah, I'll be back next week with more weird ephemera and games. So look forward to that. In the meantime, let's find someone to raid. Let's see who we got here. Who's streaming? Who can I raid? Who's alive? How about, how about Cactus Bee? Let's give them a little bit of a raid-a-roo. They're playing Disco Elysium. Nice. All right. So thank you all so very much for watching, chat. Do appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the subs. Thank you for everything. I really appreciate it very much. I will see y'all tomorrow on Retro Pals. Bye.